That's your alarm. Hello, everybody. My name is Small Alm Hexblade, your head guild master chief barista favorite small. And I have a guest today. It's Despy.
Hi.
That's you.
It's only in the name.
Yeah.
I'm the guest.
You're the guest. And happy Finding Out Friday, everybody. Congratulations on getting through another week. Your reward is watching videos with everyone's favorite. Me, Smallma. Yay! Yay!
Hello, Smallma.
I'm Smallma. Hello. Hello. Anyway, we got a bunch of stuff. First off, we're starting with something I would say is lewd, or if you don't like lewd topics or spiders, please look away. Afterwards, we got some stuff about tomatoes, cheap phones, COD zombies, and a bunch of other things that are in the docket today. So without further ado, let me just get my capture ready and we'll be on our way.
Hooray.
How have you been?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I'm still here.
It's the best.
I'm just hoping this Red Bull carries me for this stream.
When did you have are you still having the Red Bull, or did that finish?
Oh, I'm very quick with Red Bulls. I think I had that thing around... like 7:30-ish?
That's not bad, I think.
Like 2.5 hours ago.
Oh, okay. If you keep sipping it, you might last, so who knows.
I mean, listen, one time I had to do a Uno collab at like 10 p.m. start, and I think I went to the corner gas station and bought like 3 8-ounce Red Bulls and chugged all of those during the stream.
Wow. Alright. I'm scared now. I'm scared of you now.
My body is a temple, and it's the kind of temple that becomes a lost artifact.
my body is a temple, broken down, disheveled, and full of traps.
Exactly.
Maybe a spider, maybe some snakes are in there, I don't know. We're spiders.
I love spiders.
Okay, speaking of, so, we got a very short video about the funniest thing I've ever seen named. It's called the Hot Wheels Sisyphus Spider. Real name. And we're gonna learn about why is it called a Hot Wheels Sisyphus Spider. I'm gonna share my browser window with you. There you go.
I was trying to scum it off the stream.
Yeah, no, there's a significant scum off the stream. It's not gonna work. All right. Hot Wheels Spider! If you don't like spiders, please look away. But hey.
In 2023, a new species of spider was discovered and subsequently named Hot Wheels Sisyphus. I've seen some people talk about the funny name of this spider, but I haven't seen anyone dive into the deep lore of why it has a name like that, so I'm gonna do that here, because this is my channel and I do what I want here. I will say that this video will have pictures of spiders as well as pictures of spider genitalia, so if you don't want to see that, then you're probably going to want to avoid watching this video.
The spider genitalia is very important.
From the paper that announces the discovery of Hot Wheels Sisyphus, and from stuff that I know because I read the
Maybe
Journal
that's
of
what Spunk
Arachnology
stands
for fun in my
for.
free time.
Woo!
I'll leave some reading in the description if anyone's interested in the topic though. The Hot Wheels Sisyphus is named after its genitalia. The people who named the species reasoned that the looping of the male embolus reminds them of a Hot Wheels track, and the cyclic looping of the female copulatory ducts reminded them of the Greek legend Sisyphus, who's trapped in a cycle of rolling a rock up a hill. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the meme, but why?
Crazy.
Why do they look like that? Why does this spider species
Probably
have
mentioned
such
this
weird
before.
genitalia,
It's
you might
very
think?
big nerd.
Also, what's an embolus? To answer that question, we must return way back in history to the time when
Scooter
life was first
biology.
moving on land. Up to this point, species had been reproducing in water, which is super convenient because you can simply yeet out the sperm and the eggs and have them mixed together right there in the water. Going
I
on
swear,
land
that's like
presents
nature's version
problems,
of I'm
because if you
gonna
try to do the same thing on
like
land, then the eggs
eat
and the
some
sperm
cereal
dry
and then
out
drink
and
some milk at the same time and mix it in my stomach.
For nature, it's basically like, all right, you get the dry ingredients and you get the wet ingredients and you mix it together in a bowl.
It's just
That-
baking?
That's what fish. That's like what fish reproduction is. It's basically just kind of like, yeah, you just kind of dump them out in the water and just watch them mix.
The fishes are just seafood dump cakes?
I guess so. Yeah,
Huh.
they're dump cakes.
I feel disenchanted now.
Dang, about dump cakes or fish?
Yes.
I am always disenchanted by dump cakes just kind of by looking at them. They're
I mean,
I don't-
listen, dump cakes, meh. Dumpy / cake.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 and die. So lots of species would still go back to have babies in the water. Some species evolved alternative solutions, such as the penis. With this brand new technology, you can transfer sperm inside
I love the diagram.
egg cells get fertilized there and won't dry out and die on the ground. And then you can either form a shell or a membrane over that to form an egg that is capable of surviving on land, or you can just finish the development internally and give live birth. Baby is developed enough to not dry out and die. Cool.
Cool.
But spiders didn't do this because they're a bit special. If you're old like me, you might recall the iconic Yahoo Answers question, does spider have puss? The answer to that question is yes. Actually, spider females have multiple puss.
Let's go!
Spiders have 2 openings for mating. Usually when I relay the information of the double spideracy to people, which is often,
Double
their next question is,
spideracy.
so do spider males have 2 penises then? And the answer is no. In fact, spider males don't even have 1 penises. They have 0 penises. Instead, they have what I'll be
0
calling by its scientific
penises.
name of the spider male is gonopore. Spiders just kinda weren't vibing with that whole penis thing, I suppose. At least, most species weren't. Actually, you can apply the notion of most of the time to everything I say, because there's lots of spider species and they're very diverse and there are probably exceptions to everything. Okay, so then if spiders generally don't have penises, then how do they internally fertilize the
Vegetarian
female's
spider.
egg cells, you might be asking? Well, the first thing you need to understand is that spider sperm survives for a long time, like months. Or even years. Much cooler than human sperm, which won't even live for a week. So spider sperm does not need to be used right away. It can be stored. And spider males have an organ just for that. Attached to their pedipalps, which are these cool thingies here, is the genital bulb. Also known as the palpal bulb, but I'm having trouble pronouncing that word, so I won't be
Palpal bulb.
calling it that. The spider male uses this to slurp up its own semen and then keep it safe until a suitable female comes along.
What?
Then the males can use this long tube thingy here, which is called an embulus, to transfer their stale semen into the female. Now you might be thinking, oh, so that's why the spider females have 2 vaginas? It's because the spider males
Love
have 2
reproduction and
pedipalps,
just
but
kinda
you'd
going,
be
what?
wrong. The males still only use 1 bulb to mate. The double spiders is actually solely for the female's benefit.
Oh man, if
see,
you
the
watch
spider
spiders
females
mating.
are a bit picky about their baby.
Sorry,
count.
Rose. If you watch spiders mating, it's like a guy basting a giant turkey. Oh, this is terrible. This is terrible.
Like, imagine you mate with someone and then you find out that they were actually kinda cringe, or you find a better male, but now you're already carrying the cringe male's cringe babies. To avoid situations like that, the female genitalia has an interesting property of being able to spit. We have established that spider sperm can survive for a very long time. So technically there is no reason that the spider female couldn't just have the sperm hang out in her vagina, and if she meets a better male, she can mate with that one using the other vagina and then yeet out the unworthy sperm from the other male. So the female spider has
You
these
can
little
do
pouches
testing.
called spermatheca, the function of which is just that. They can
Tag
store
yourself,
and
I'm a
remove and
worry
transfer
sperm.
sperm. This way, the spider female also doesn't have to use the sperm unless she deems that the time is right for making eggs. She can either keep it in there waiting for better days, or she can just yeet it away. She may even only use some of the sperm and then keep the rest in there for when she wants to bear another clutch. This is beneficial for the female because she can choose to only have the healthiest babies in the safest situations, which contributes to both her and the baby's survival. But it kinda sucks for the cringe males whose sperm is getting yeeted out for being unworthy. So while the
Rip.
spider females
They were
evolved the
cringe.
spitting double spidersy, the males of some species evolved a countermeasure of making their embolus so long that it bypasses the spermatheca and instead fertilizes the egg cells right away, kinda like in humans and other mammals. This provides a reproductive advantage for the male, but it sucks for the female, so in turn the females end up evolving longer copulatory ducts to counteract the male's countermeasure, so now the males can't reach past the spermatheca anymore. And in turn, the males end up evolving an even longer embolus. and the
Evolution is
females end up
crazy.
evolving an even longer duct.
Oy
And this is how
vey.
with spiders like the Hot Wheels Sisyphus. The Hot Wheels
Competitive.
track here is evidence of an evolutionary battle over reproductive rights, the cyclical nature
Crazy,
of the embolus
actually.
and copulatory duct, as well as the cycle of males and females trying to outpace each other in evolution, makes the name Sisyphus very appropriate. Or at least that is one of the theories for the evolutionary reasons behind this phenomenon of elongated emboli and reproductive ducts. Researching the mechanisms of evolution is difficult at best, and there's always some amount of guesswork involved. It is known that male spiders with longer emboli tend to have better reproductive success, and that it is specifically the copulatory duct leading up to the spermatheca that gets longer in females, while fertilization ducts leading from the spermatheca to the uterus remain short. Also, I couldn't find any other explanation for the phenomenon while fact-checking this video. Yeah, so anyways, that's the lore. Bye.
Isn't that such a weird thing? I enjoy it.
That is such a weird thing.
It's
You know what
so
else is
weird, but I do enjoy it. Yes?
So you know how Austrian was telling you about how I made my friend realize that his girlfriend's a cat girl?
Yeah? Has there been an update?
Yes, she does in fact want a fursuit. And this boy was like, I mean, it can't cost that much, right? Maybe like $500. One came was like, honey, it costs thousands. And he's like, no way this shit costs $6,000.
No, it would.
I know. Ooh, look at the little babies.
They're supposedly mating.
We should mate like that.
What?
Yeah, just like grab tippy to. Oh, never mind. Maybe not like that. That's maybe a little too intimate.
He's like poking at her, and I'm like, this is weird.
I mean, the poking was a little neat. I'm just trying to figure out what the heck is actually going on here. Oh, poking and then just turning her over.
No,
Okay.
no, I like this part. I like this part because he's like, oh shoot, where do I stick? Where do I like? He was like, where do I stick it in? Ah, shoot. He's like, here? No, here? Oh, shoot. And then he's like just thinking about it, and and she. It's like, no, wait, it goes underneath. I found it.
I have found the hole.
I got it. That felt a little dirty to watch, I'll be real.
I mean, listen, I was invited to be a voyeur once when I visited my friend, so this just feels normal to me.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, it was weird.
Oh, there's the mating dance. I love the mating dance. Hi, Allie. I hope you're not too scared of spiders. This will be the last one, I promise.
I swear, I know his arms are up, but it makes me feel like he's like a very intimidated, like airlane traffic officer just holding up his cones, just being like, hey, do you see these?
Hey, you're supposed to go this way. You're cleared for this runway.
This runway called my dad.
I love how this other spider almost just like didn't care until this happened. If I feel like I'm watching a fighting game neutral. I'm watching fighting game neutral. They're playing footsies. Actually, nah, not just any fighting game. This is Street Fighter.
You fighter footsies, oh geez Louise.
You know, where there are no attacks, it is just footsies this entire time.
Well, I'm glad you got top 4 and pulled $60 worth of stuff in prizing. What game did you play?
Yeah, what game did you play for the local? Oh, he did it! I think. What?
He's getting there.
It looks like he's trying to, like, handle a package that's too big for his room. Jumping spiders are the most little guy coded of a bug. I can agree with that. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Oy.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, you got
Ew.
puked on. Ew. I'm sorry. What deck were you playing? Say, what deck were you playing?
This is me, an amateur gardener.
Oh, sorry. I won.
No, you're...
No, it's cool. I just wanted to save this. This one is a silly one that I wanted to know if it was possible to also, because I was like, my mom has a garden outside, and we grew a bunch of eggplants and cucumbers, so I had a stupid idea and I wanted to see if it was a real thing. So I watched the YouTube video, and apparently it is a real thing. So anyway, the title of this video is literally labeled, "Can I grow a garden from a Subway sandwich?" What are your thoughts?
I mean, the question is the quality of the plants that you grow from the Subway sandwich meet or exceed what you use?
That is a good point.
Because, like, if it's just, like...
Yeah. No.
Chapter Extract Narika. Uh-huh.
We'll see how this goes.
This is
You
me,
are
an
cooking,
amateur
but also...
gardener with an idea.
You
What
would
if
play Trap
instead
Tricks.
of buying tomato plants, I buy a sandwich and get extra free tomatoes on it? Then I take those seeds and grow them into my very own tomato plants.
And then make a profit off of all the veggies it produces.
Oh.
A genius business plan? I think so.
At this point in time,
You could
I
sell
don't
the
know if
tomatoes
it
for
will actually
more
work, but
than the Subway
about
sandwich,
to
and
find
you've
out.
made a
I
profit.
headed to the Sandwich Empire to see if I could even get free extra tomatoes, because if not, then this whole thing is going to be over before it even begins.
And then could I do double tomato, please? Thank you. So extra tomatoes are free? Okay. Awesome, thank you. Thank you. Use love. See ya.
Sandwich acquired. And so now the experiment officially begins.
Now
Time
what
to
did you
plant the tomatoes.
Now what did you order from Subway?
So these are the tomatoes I'm gonna plant. These ones I'm leaving in the sandwich so that it's a delicious lunch.
Oh, thank goodness,
This
he's
is
actually
what
eating the
I'm going to
sandwich.
put them in. It's gonna act like a little greenhouse. To make their house a home, I added some seed starting soil,
would play Melodious
then
too.
drenched it in water,
Um,
and got my hand right
I mean,
in
listen,
there
it's
mixing
Subway.
it
It's
around.
mid at best.
It is no, it's
All right,
incredibly
that
mid.
should do it.
I'm just glad he's eating it and
Our
not just
first
throwing it away.
Tomato. Off
There's
on a
still
new
mayo
adventure.
on it.
Tuck them in there. This is what we're after.
Yeah, food waste
See
makes
those
me
little seeds?
angry.
The hope is that each one of those seeds will sprout an individual full tomato plant.
I swear, I feel like
Our
I'm watching
final
someone put
tomato
tomatoes into, like, a friggin'
Look in a
Oreo
little
brownie
oats and
tray.
lettuce
This is
bowl.
a dirt casserole with tomatoes.
That's not how it works. Okay, in goes our last tomato friend. And the final step is to cover them with more soil.
Like,
add a
you
bit
know,
more
like you do
water,
as a
and then
kid.
just
Dang it.
I just realized
yeah.
that there's no drainage holes
Yeah, no, believe me,
under
I
the
hate
bottom of
food
it.
waste.
So
I hate having to work a
I'm
job
gonna
that
make
wastes
some.
so much food every day. It makes me want to bang my head against the wall.
If anything, I try my best to have like I want to try and get like a
This definitely
decomposer,
would have been easier before I
not
filmed it.
composter. Yeah,
Learn from my mistake.
for food waste because it bothers me a bunch.
Okay. I think that should do it now. And so it begins. Day number 1. I'm gonna do my best to document the progress, and hopefully they turn into some amazing, beautiful tomato plants. Day 2, update. There's absolutely no changes whatsoever. But our little greenhouse dome is working. Look at all that condensation. Oh, baby. What a glorious day. Check this out. Some of the seeds have officially sprouted.
Little sprouts.
Look at them. There's at least
little
10 of them
guys,
so
go
far.
little
Oh, I'm so
babies.
excited right now that it's actually working. Like, I know it's common knowledge that seeds turn into plants, but legit,
I like how you can tell which way the sun was facing because the plants are leaned in that direction.
QCR White Forest in Ulti Big Welcome. Hell yeah. That
few
sounds
days
pretty
ago,
dope-arino.
this was just a part of a sandwich. And it's only day 5. That happened way faster than I thought it would. I was gonna shoot a really cool time lapse and show the progress, but all of a sudden they're here. So please enjoy this cool video of a seed sprouting and just imagine that it was the tomatoes.
Wow.
I will continue to nurture and care for my little babies here. And hopefully they keep growing nice and strong. And grow they did. Over the next few weeks, I was amazed to see them thriving, and I made sure to give them all the love and care that they deserved. I was feeling so confident until day 20. I have good news and I have bad news. You want the bad news first? Okay. The bad news is that my seedlings are having a bit of an issue. See how their stems are really skinny and long, and then their leaves are kind of pale green? Thanks to the internet, I learned that this is a problem known as laggy seedlings.
Leggy.
And the good
Laggy.
news, I know you've been waiting for it, is that also thanks to the internet, there might be a solution that will save the tomato plants. This is Jason. He wrote a very thorough article explaining how to rescue laggy tomato plants.
Leggy.
And everyone go comment,
Leggy.
thanks Jason. So I took his
Thanks,
advice
Jason.
and upgraded
Thanks,
to
Jason.
a bigger container, then took out my struggling little plants and repotted them by burying the whole stem. This will apparently help encourage them to put their energy into growing a strong root system instead of just stem growth. It's done. I've chosen the 18 strongest, most thriving plants, and hopefully they make a comeback. Because I'll be sad if they all just die after all this time. I gotta be honest, this was the first of 2 irresponsible acts of plant care. And the second thing, well, we're leaving on a 3-week-long road trip.
Oh.
And it was awesome. A really special time away. We saw a ton of beautiful sights, but you know what was on my
that's
mind
pretty.
the whole time? My dang tomato plants back home. Finally, after 15 days away, we got a video update. Oh, they're still alive. They're thriving, actually. Look at them.
Ooh.
They look better than when Connor was taking care of them.
Look at those beauties.
They're getting so big.
Yeah, they are.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you do. Thank you, Mom. So the first thing I did once we were home
Oh
was
wow, those
pick
got
up my
really
dog.
tall. Dog.
Now for the next
love
important
dog.
thing,
Yeah.
planting the tomatoes
Tomato!
in the garden.
I'm actually so surprised by how big they are. Like, these ain't little babies anymore.
It's time. Oh, almost ripped this one off. It's time to give them a proper new home, permanent home, into the garden. I was so proud that my plan was working, and I couldn't wait to harvest a ton of tomatoes.
I wonder how
from these
good the
plants.
tomatoes are though. Like again,
Good
like
question.
the quality
I
of the
neatly
tomatoes.
transplanted each one. I was kissing them for some reason and added little pieces of wood as support.
And the
I wish I
final
had Wisp
one.
for support. That sounds nice.
There we go. Here they are, all cozy in the garden.
Don't you have a cane?
Will they produce any
do,
tomatoes?
but it's not wooden.
At this point, I still don't know.
Similar, but not exactly the
hopefully
same.
in a few short weeks,
Dang,
we'll
close.
be able to tell.
You could probably get one from a thrift store.
Ah,
Could if I cared, but I like my floral print, so.
I hate to say
True.
it, but things are not going well.
No.
What's going down to
The tomato plants are looking rough. This one is just completely shriveled.
Oh my
up.
god.
It's like my hopes and dreams now.
He's
I'm
dried.
not sure what I did wrong, but clearly it was something, or I can just blame it on the crazy windstorm that happened a few days earlier. But either way, I was feeling pretty sad.
Dang it. Technically, this idea does work because I got a sandwich with free extra tomatoes.
Don't end
and
it
then I
there.
did pour a ton of
No!
into them, and they grew. They grew into beautiful little
Oh,
seedlings.
sir!
But now there's no way I'm getting my infinite tomato hack out of these. There's not a single one here that's thriving.
Unfortunate.
This is not how I'd hoped this video would go.
But I was encouraged by Master Gardener Jason. Remember him?
And I
Aw.
guess I'll just have to try again next year.
That's unfortunate, but I do enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
This also might work with the cucumbers.
Cucumbers might be a better move.
Probably.
That was just a month ago.
what was
what
just a month ago?
The subway plan.
Huh.
Minecraft kids adulting for the first time. There's other fun ones. I turn balloons into indestructible furniture. Is resin is my question, and I'm like, maybe. Very cute though. Okay. This one's kind of curious. This one's from, what was it? Brandon. Thank you, Brandon. It's about smartphones. Specifically cheap ones from Family Dollar, and see how cheap they are. If they are cheap, or if they're good.
Oh god, I'm getting war flashbacks to my work at Dollar General had to sell these things.
I'm
Now,
I'm
unsure
curious.
about you, but as for me, I was unaware that dollar stores, specifically Family Dollar, were selling smartphones. I got news they were, so I went
Yep,
to a
there's
Family
Track
Dollar
Phone.
in my city.
Well,
and
I
as you
feel
can
like
see,
I
bought
want
a
one
few
just to see
smartphones.
what it can do,
Actually,
you know?
I went to a Family Dollar in my city and I bought every model of smartphone that Family Dollar had. And today we're going to go through those smartphones and see if there's a catch, because these things
They do
are
what
being
they do. They're
sold
basically
for
just burner
absolute
phones.
dirt cheap.
Yeah, they're very
All
much burner
Family Dollars
phones.
look like this. But the sign to the Family Dollar I went to looks like it was either shot by a gun or someone threw boulders at it.
Yep,
Hey, I
that's
didn't ask
the normal
questions.
Family Dollar.
Welcome to
Dollar
Family
experience.
Dollar.
Out of my car, there was a single diaper directly outside of my vehicle, which I stepped into.
No!
Hey, that's okay. But the Family Dollar had exactly what we needed as we proceeded to go inside.
You guys have cell phones?
Just what we have right there.
On the other side?
Yeah, in that black cabinet back there.
Okay, sweet, thank you.
The cell phones were locked up, so I asked the associate if he could get me one of each model, and he gladly got me one of each model. I also asked him which models sold the most, and he said the Moto G Plays were the hottest sellers. $380 was the total for 8 different smartphones, which is absurdly cheap. So I
You could
sorted
buy
this
one
into
good
two
smartphone
categories,
for that
starting on the most
price.
expensive on this
Yep.
side, going to the cheapest being $20.
However,
I'm gonna
grocery
give an
store
overview
for
on
the
these phones
poor.
and tell you guys if I think these smartphones are worth it, and I'll tell you that some of these phones are definitely worth it, and some of them are definitely not. So be sure to stay tuned.
Positive
also, be
news,
sure to
apparently.
subscribe because I will be making independent videos on some of these smartphones at a later date. The most expensive phone is the top phone on the left pile, and the least expensive is the bottom phone on the right pile. So this right here, the Moto G 5G, is the most expensive, being $74, which is interesting because this phone sells for $150 to $200 depending on where you buy it from. So Let's open this thing up and see what's going on. Is it worth it? I have no idea, but we're gonna find
Honestly,
out.
for these,
Also,
they're
I'm
like,
curious to know if any of you
they're
are
always
users of
subsidized.
Motorola. You should go in the comments and comment the
But
model
for
of
like
phone
that
you're
price
using. Ooh,
by
let's
itself
get
is like a
started.
pretty good
I like
phone.
that.
I actually think
Good
I've recommended
presentation
this
by
brand to
Verizon. They've got
people.
all the good junk, wasted about 4 trees on all the paper, but they've got a USB-C type charge cable.
Ooh.
Very nice. And a SIM pin. Ooh. Can't have enough of these when you do what I do. I like the shape of this one. Okay, let's open this up. Oops, broke that tab. Oh, dang. Okay, I seriously like the look of this. It's like a leather finish to this, and it feels really nice. And it's got a SIM in it
jack.
already, which is interesting. And I'll tell
I
you
miss
why
headphone jacks
it's
so
interesting.
much.
Oh, it has an
Right
SD
here,
card
when you go to set up
slot.
the phone, you're required to put your zip code in. So you put your zip in, and it automatically chooses your city to make sure there's cell coverage. And then from there, it goes right into this selection where you have to choose a cell phone plan. So it's saying the best plan here is unlimited for $60 a month, as well as a few other options. I do like the nutrition facts format, but when you go to skip this or try to bypass this, it says not activated, and there's no way to go past this activation of Total Wireless. You cannot bypass it
Aw.
and set up without Wi-Fi, which is just kind of odd. So right here, I decided to say, okay, you know what? We're just going to put this back in the box and come back to this cell phone in a few minutes. So I put it back in the box and was like, all right. Then I moved over to the TCL 40XE, and I noticed something at the top of the box, which says Wi-Fi is not available until the device is activated on the Verizon network. And I looked at the other phone, and I saw the same thing right here, which just kind of stinks that you can't use the phone just on Wi-Fi. You have to purchase a monthly contract. Now,
Yummer.
this is
Yeah,
why they're
no,
selling it for so cheap.
That's why they're
And
selling
these
it for so
phones
cheap,
cost
because they
over
can't really do
$100
a lot
anywhere
otherwise,
else.
you know?
Is because
Basically bricks
the
without surface.
manufacturer and the carrier, they have some sort
If you're dedicated, you could
contractual
probably get
agreement
away
to
with
make
it,
more money
but nah.
off of us. Don't get me wrong, this is still a month-to-month carrier plan. You're not locked into like a multi-month or multi-year contract, but it just kind of stinks that you have to pay just to set up the phone. So I'm not going to open up the 40XE, but I am going to open up the Moto G. The associate said these are the hot sellers. So I
Yeah,
decided
these
to
are bought
take
up
a
of
look.
jailbroken
This
and
one's
resold.
$49.99,
Exactly.
And on the top, it doesn't say anything about
Part of the
purchasing
problem
anything
too is
set
that
up
to try and get into the
Wi-Fi.
settings to
So that's
enable
good news. This phone has
like
64
jailbreaking
gigabytes of internal storage,
requires you to get
put
into
a
the settings, so
terabyte
that's
SD card into this thing, and although this plastic security tag requires a machete to open the package,
That's
but it's okay
stupid
because
security
I carry
tag.
a machete on the regular while I'm unboxing. For anyone curious, the processor in these is a Snapdragon 684G, which basically is good enough to do anything that you're looking to do on a regular day-to-day smartphone.
USB-C cable,
Also comes
yay!
with a USB-C type charge cable, and it looks super pretty. No,
Ooh,
serious, this
pretty.
phone looks pretty. I love the way it looks, and it's by Total Wireless, which is a good month-to-month plan. And look, this is what I was talking about. Set up offline. You don't need to use Wi-Fi, and you don't need to pay to set this thing up. See, you just press continue. You don't need to pay for anything, and it's got a pretty little loading screen. Ooh, I love that. And it's $49.99. Oh my gosh. With the setup, it automatically opts you into these. You see my email. It
Ew.
automatically opts you into marketing.
Triple
So
Z?
I toggle
Wow.
these off and then press next. Same with this track phone agreement automatically opts you into data tracking, basically. Like provide
Ew.
public device pulse app access to personalized device data. Yeah, I turned both of those off and then proceeded to set the rest of the phone up. And again, something you got to understand about these $50 phones is you're going to have a bunch of bullcrap apps that are going to install automatically upon setup.
I'm very surprised that
So
they even still
it's
let you
gonna
to
take up a
like
bunch
use
of
the phone
storage once you set up the phone.
even without
With
like
this phone,
SIM
for some
card
reason,
setup.
I'm not seeing any of that. It also runs Android 13,
especially for a,
and the
again like for a
camera's 50 megapixels,
prepaid phone.
which is pretty dang good. This is
Ooh.
definitely one of the best phones, and the phones get really bad from here. So this is going to be one of the top recommendations.
Let's go. The phones are gonna get
Now,
worse.
This is a good phone.
Oh
Sorry, it's one of the
boy, I
better
cannot
phones
I
wait to see
can't
how
wait.
bad it
and
gets.
I'm sure these are good, but I'm not going to pay for a plan to set them up. These are good phones, but I'm not going to pay to set them up. And then in the mix, there's another Moto G Play. The only difference is this one is specifically with TrackPhone. The other one I just showed is Total by Verizon. The funny thing is, TrackPhone is owned by Total by Verizon, but they're different. It's kind of confusing, I know. But the difference is going to be on data usage.
Yeah, when
If
you're
you're
watching
lighter on
Nuggets.
data, use TrackPhone. If you're heavier, use Total. Total's going to be a little more expensive than TrackPhone, but TrackPhone's not unlimited. And then you've got this, the Nokia C110, and this is $39.99.
Wow, that's old.
Total.
Nokia's been out of the phone
32 gigabytes
game.
of memory. It's got a micro
For a
SD
while.
card up to 512 gigabytes, and unfortunately, it's got a downgraded processor. That being a MediaTek 6762.
Are we learning about the
I've
dollar
actually
store?
played with
Yep.
this before, and I hate this phone. Although it has a nice texture on the back, you're gonna get what you pay for with a $40 phone. Unfortunately,
$40 stem
actually, I
toy.
take it back. That's not always the case. Be sure to stay.
Yeah, my
tuned.
phone is
You'll
a
be surprised.
$1,000 STEM toy.
Anyways,
Let's be
yeah,
real.
I wanted to just install.
I don't use it
See if
for
I can
use it for
install, and
calls. I
randomly,
just stim on the
it stopped installing. And then I went to scroll through my apps and I saw Chime and Royal Match automatically downloaded. Like, what? I mean, I had to play a couple rounds of Royal Match, of course, and I see their freaking ads everywhere I go.
Wow, this
And
is
when I exited
the worst
game,
shit.
I found more.
This is like
It
the
downloaded.
Timu and Pandora. Like,
This
what
is the
heck?
Facebook mom
13
phone,
gigabytes
Jesus
of
Christ.
Storage was taken.
It
and I
automatically
downloaded any
download. Oh my god, it
application.
keeps
Oh, there was
downloading
solitaire as
stuff.
well. Basically, the Nokia C110 sucks. From the startup, you get a bunch of stuff forced onto you, and I got Call of Duty to download, but as you can see, I couldn't get it to launch. I was just stuck here. So the Nokia C110, we're going to put this back in the box to rest for a later video, that is, and the Moto G Play is still in #1. But don't worry, I have a good surprise for you guys, so keep watching. And although we're looking at the Moto G Go for $34.99,
different
this
model.
is not the surprise. At first glance, the phone's looking pretty good. I like the form factor. I like the way it feels in my hands. I like through setup that you could opt out of marketing, but I do not like these AT&T terms, which basically tell you that AT&T is going to be tracking you. But you could turn those off too, so I was sure to do that. The chin bezel is awfully thick, almost a ½ or quarter-inch, and the top is also looking pretty bad, but it's a pretty looking phone.
Oh, it is a Go
Now,
phone.
While with Total Wireless, you do have the possibility of unlocking the phone. This phone is going to be locked to AT&T for the life of the phone, and it just has a crap load of these extra applications. Not just games, but a bunch of extra AT&T apps, as well as...
Yeah, no, hold up. What? Oh my god!
Yeah!
Skype! Oh my god, Facebook Lite. I haven't used that in ages.
Skype chips.
phone.
Crazy.
And it just has a crap load of all these extra applications. Not just games, but a bunch of extra AT&T apps, as well as games built into those AT&T apps. But I do have to say, the camera is looking pretty good. Not bad for 13 megapixels, I guess. But it only has 32 gigabytes of internal storage, and 11 gigabytes are already used just by starting up the phone. So I wouldn't recommend this, especially because it only goes up to Android 11. Yeah, I mean, the phone is already laggy, and we haven't installed anything on the phone yet. I would highly recommend that you don't purchase this phone. It's definitely not worth it. Something that was very off-putting is I went to the App Store, and I tried going up to the search, and I could not get the search to register. Once I was able to search for Call of Duty, I tapped on Call of Duty, and it just instantly crashed the App Store. So I was like, okay, I guess we're not downloading Call of Duty. Now here's for the last two, and these are actually the best two in my personal opinion, because one is $20 and the other one is $24.99, and you're about to be pleasantly
I sold
surprised.
so many of the
with
TCL Flip 2 back in the day.
Now again, the downside is there's these
The
plastic
blue,
pieces, and
I remember
but
Blue
once those
being
are
such
through,
a
it's easy to
cheap
take these out.
brand.
Now the Blue View, this thing is
It's
actually
just the
pretty
ultimate
futuristic
burner
looking.
phone.
and
Oh,
I
yeah.
love the massive back cameras, which I'll show you guys in a minute. They're pretty dang good cameras. But
Just
I
get
want
to
you
buy
guys
for
to
like
take a
20
guess
bucks
right
and be
now,
like,
which is going to be better,
I am down
the
at the
flip
dock
phone
with
or
your
this
girlfriend.
smartphone? I do have to
Bring
say,
$500 and a 12-pack of PBR, or else I'm
a
feeding
huge
her
fan
to
of the
my
flip phone
chihuahua.
because they're so
Yeah,
simplistic
honestly.
and modular. They remind me of the phones that I use in high school.
Ah.
Plus, you can take the battery in and out of the phone.
Super
and
dumb.
the battery
Ah,
cover
feature
on and
phones.
off. Unfortunately, none of these phones have been able to do that so far, and this phone, yeah, it doesn't have any bloatware because you literally just turn it on.
It's a phone.
Select English, and you're freaking good to go, dude.
It's like
That
a
being
normal
said,
phone.
You're pretty much only able to text and make phone calls, but you could flip the phone open and close like this, and haven't been able to do that for years. On the downside, the blue phone, they have these terms that you have to agree to, and if you don't agree to the terms, then you can't click to next, unlike the other phones. As you could imagine, I agreed to the terms, as they weren't anything too crazy and were pretty standard. I went ahead and set up the phone. But we're down to the final two. What do you guys think? Do you think I like the flip phone or the blue phone more? As funny as you might think, I really like both of them, but let's start with the TCL Flip 2. I like this one a lot because it's so simple with the startup, and it's 20 bucks. There's only 9 options, which is pretty much text, call, photos, music, gallery, browse, all of your essentials.
Tiny,
and
cheap
the back
web browser, I
camera
love
is
it.
actually not bad at all. It's 2 megapixels, but you can't really tell when you take photos and look at the photos on the phone. They look about the same as the other phones we've already looked at, which is kind of weird. Don't know how that works, but they look really good. I'd imagine a lot of drug dealers buy the TCL Flip 2 flip phone. Now, as for the blue phone, this is equally as good. For $25, you have a great smartphone with all of the essentials. And this has a MediaTek Helio A22 processor, so it does everything you need it to do. You're not going to be running a
Google
complex
Wallet.
business or YouTube channel on this thing, but it's also not going to be slowing
Maybe
you
it has
down.
NFC.
Like the other phones were super laggy and they were crashing when I tried to open up applications. This phone's not doing that. It actually is installing Call of Duty pretty quick, and the other phones I could barely do that on. So while we're waiting for Call of Duty, let's take some photos. and test
The
it out.
cameras on the back,
Again,
though,
you're not
look
gonna be
kind of
running a
jank.
photography business because the back camera is 13 megapixels, but it definitely does the job, and it's good enough to be posting on Instagram at least.
What's the
And
point
for
of having two cameras,
$24.99 on track phone, it's definitely worth it. It's got 64 gigabytes of internal storage, and unlike a lot of these
The
phones
value.
right here, it runs Android 14 for 25 bucks. Now, of course, this one doesn't do that, but it definitely does all of the essentials and has everything you need if you just need a phone. And would you look at that? I'm gaming on Call of Duty Mobile like a madman, and I'm actually on a kill streak, kicking some butt in a lobby right now and feeling pretty dang good. I would not have guessed that this is the phone I would have been able to do this on out of all of these phones, considering it was only $24.99 and the processor isn't amazing. It's doing the job and it runs fine. It actually feels really good in my hands and is pretty responsive to the game. I will say upon launch it was a little bit slow, but I don't think it was the phone. It was definitely my Wi-Fi. So, I'm satisfied. Once I came out of the game, I did see that there were
Very
some of those
impressive for
applications
such
that
a cheap
automatically
phone.
installed. Those were the regular
Solitaire's
games
on there
the other
twice.
phones, but it did not slow the phone down. And
I mean,
that
it's
is
solitaire.
key.
You can never have
Hey,
enough
for
solitaire.
$24.99,
True,
think
I
you get
guess.
the most bang for your buck out of all of these phones. Good stuff. Now, these two right here, only good if you're 100% set on Verizon. These two here, these are the best. The Blue View 2 and the Moto G Play, whether it's on Verizon or track phone. These are going to be your best bets, and you could use them on Wi-Fi alone if you wanted. Again, these are month to month. You're not going to be locked into like a year contract. And the TCL Flip 2, I love because it's a flip phone. As for these two right here, these are absolute trash. You may as well just run these over with your car. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, be sure to subscribe where I release videos like this every single week.
I love looking at nuggets. I love looking at the cheap nugget videos. Those are my favorite. Okay. Oh, actually, I think this one's really neat. I made a movie with Amazon's cheapest camera. Do you want to watch it? No, it's
cameras are
it's good.
You're good.
Whoa.
I mean, you're good, no homo. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Cinema cameras
Okay,
are
you're good, no.
expensive. The most
Okay, you're
popular
good.
ones
No,
cost
no
around
homo.
$100,000.
Damn it.
But that's just for the camera. Wait till you see how much the lenses cost. That's like a house. I don't really want to buy a house. But luckily, I don't have to, because I found a much more affordable option on Amazon. Introducing the Kids Camera Video Camcorder, a state-of-the-art piece of filmmaking technology that costs only $9 with a coupon. And over the next few days, I'll be attempting to film a real movie with it. That means I need to write a script, find a crew, direct, shoot, edit, and export a finished film, all while using a $9 camera that has puppy paw prints on it. So the question
It has a
is, can
tripod.
this even be done? I actually have no
It
idea.
has a
Let's find
tripod
out.
mount on it, which is
So
actually
first things
a
first,
surprising
I need to make sure
W.
this thing actually functions.
Yeah.
According to the Amazon listing, it shoots HD video, which is very hard to believe.
Yeah,
So
sure.
look at this picture. There is zero chance that image was
HD.
captured with this camera. It's time to hit
Yeah,
the power
sure,
button.
okay.
I'm not fully confident this thing's gonna turn on. It was $9.
Oh!
No way.
It's a Dwarf's core.
What is this menu screen?
It has games.
Okay, big deal. This camera has games on it. It doesn't matter.
wanna
I'm
play
not gonna play
games.
them because I have a movie to make.
No. Yeah!
So I did end up playing the games for a little bit, and they were actually really fun. But the real test is the image quality. So after
Tiny
gaming
snack.
for a bit, I switched to video mode and I started filming. In order to make a movie with this thing, I need to know its strengths and weaknesses. So I went around my house and filmed a ton of test footage. Now all that's left to do is dump it onto the computer and see how it looks.
Oh no. Lol.
I can't think of what it's named, but go to like find your networks.
I don't want to film the whole video and then realize like I can't even access the footage.
Yeah.
So. Okay, stop the sad music. It's too early to get pessimistic because even though the SD card reader doesn't work, there's still another method that I haven't tried, and that's using a cable to plug the camera in directly.
Please, 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 please. We got it! It's on.
My favorite
We're
noise.
live, and the footage looks about what you'd expect for $9. It's not like the worst thing in the world.
I like how this
but,
has
you know, it's
aged the
definitely
video
not
like
good.
maybe 20 years.
Ignore what I just
Oh my
said.
God,
Here's the
that
thing.
audio!
This thing looked pretty good on the little flip-out screen. But once I watched it on the computer, I realized that I got scammed. Remember how the
Crunchy.
Amazon listing said the camera shoots high-definition video? Well, it definitely does not. For example, the video you're watching right now is what HD video looks like. It has a resolution of 1920 by 1080 pixels. In
Yeah.
comparison, the Kids Camera Video Camcorder shoots 640 by 480 pixels, which looks like this. A very cute, small, definitely not HD video. So in order to make the footage fill the screen, I have to zoom it in 225%, which unfortunately makes the image quality even worse. It makes the task of using it for a movie even that more challenging. I'm really gonna have to get creative here because this looks horrible. First things first, I need to find out what kind of movie I can even make with this camera. Because as we just saw, this footage isn't exactly beautiful. But then I remembered, there's an entire genre of movies that thrive using low resolution cameras. Most of these movies are either found footage thrillers or experimental films that use webcams, GoPros, and even doorbell cameras. For my movie, I'm gonna have it take place through the lens of a home security system. So it's gonna be a little spooky. Well, if I do my job right, it's gonna be spooky, okay? The pressure is on me. I have to deliver. We'll see if I can. Here's my idea. It starts off with a man, played by me, who installs a brand new state-of-the-art home security system in his house. And everything seems to be going great. But like most movies, there's a bit of a twist, and things aren't exactly as they seem. The story takes a bit of a wild turn when the man, still played by me, gets an unexpected visitor at night. And this is footage of me just writing the script and making a storyboard, which took several hours, but I'm just glossing over it so we can get to the fun part.
I respect the storyboarding. Like he's taking it real serious.
Amazing. You know, I didn't expect this to come, I wasn't expecting this. I know it probably looks like I'm just talking to myself here, which I am, but I won't be in the movie. You see, this security camera is state of the art, which means it has live surveillance built in. So once I start editing, I'll add the voice of a character named Dave.
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm a technician for the security company, and I'm helping Isaac set up his brand new cameras. I don't have any hidden motives, and my character is definitely not up to anything nefarious.
Yeah, that's who I'm supposed to be talking to here. But for now, I'm stuck talking to myself, which I found to be a lot harder than I anticipated. And I know I keep saying this, but this image quality is so bad. Just because the image quality is horrible doesn't mean we can't make a quality movie, because I have a magical trick that I can use, and it's called sound design. So as you can tell, I really enjoy recording my own sound effects.
Ah, that was an ad. We skipped the ad.
So weird. I think I need somebody actually here to read the script to me. It'd be so nice if I had a roommate that would help. You are gonna be playing the role of Dave. Dave is a human, but Dave is also behind the camera, so you never see him. God, I think I forgot to take the lens cap off. Oh,
There you are.
you can see me?
Crystal clear, and it looks like the other rooms are set up as well.
Perfect. We flipped through the house, the kitchen, the dining room, the hallway, back into the living room. I don't know how long it records for. There was also this thing on Amazon that said if it gets jammed, put like a pin in this little hole to reset it.
Ah, the reset hole.
That's not inspiring the most confidence. But all we can really do is just hope we don't run into any issues. So Nick and I just kept rolling through the script, and after an hour, we finished the opening scene. Okay. it's
Guesty, I
nighttime now.
forgot.
That's
What's
a
the
wrap
name
on
of...
day one.
What's that idiom of like... shoot. Like something involving limitations breeds creativity or something like that?
Yeah.
Do you remember what it is? I don't remember.
No, that's basically it. Just limitations breed creativity.
Yeah, so this... Necessity is the mother of invention? Not?
The second
Is that
and
the
what
same?
I thought was the final day of filming was going great.
Necessity
The
is the
camera was
mother of
handling
invention
the
is
shoot
more
like
of a
champ. But
phrase
that's when I
used for, like,
realized
say,
I made
like,
a huge mistake.
If
I
it's not
completely
there and you
forgot
need
about
it, and then you invent it. So, like, for example, like, say, like, if the consumer is the idea, like, you know what? I want a back scratcher that talks back to me and lets me know, like, hey, yes, this is the spot. And then you make it. That's necessity is the mother of invention.
This is different. Because...
Yeah, like limitation breeds creativity is like, for example, like
I'm gonna try and make music on a cat piano.
So let me actually do something nerdier here. So one of my favorite musicians is Robert Fripp from King Crimson. And like after he was done doing stuff with King Crimson like the 70s, he created his own guitar course. And instead of using like the standard tuning that a lot of guitarists are used to, he made his own called New Standard Tuning, which is sort of like a mutation of cello tuning onto a guitar. And the idea was these guitarists have to relearn everything that they conventionally know from the standard tuning because none of it really works in New Standard Tuning. So by having a whole new set of things that you're ill-accustomed to, you then try to acclimate what you can do of it, and then also learn limitations and the strengths of what the new thing is in order to do more creative things with it. The same way you do alternate tunings for guitar, which is why, for example, like, yes, you could hypothetically play, like, slide guitar and, like, open or, like, standard tuning, but, like, a lot of slide players use open tune because it's like, you know what, like, yeah, it's just because this works here doesn't mean you can't do it other ways. Fripptronics, let's go. I love Robert Fripp. Like, Fripptronics is cool. I need to listen to more Brian Eno. Yeah, I don't know. Point is just, like, you can remove things and you can definitely get more interesting things out of it. Even just taking, like, the limitation of do simple idea can get you far, which is, like, one of my favorite things I love a lot out of polymetric music. It's just, like, okay, you play in 4/4. You play in 5/4.
Weird polymeter.
Yeah, polymeter. And it's just like, okay, you use this, like, scalar set, you use that scalar set, and let's see what happens. And the thing that usually happens is, oh. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah. Limitations are neat like that. You can also just limit yourself in more interesting ways, too, like...
Making a story without using the letter E. I think someone made a book with that.
Yeah,
that one's
works
neat.
Too.
Anyway, back to this.
Filming the final scene. Literally the most important part of the movie. You guys remember when I said we were done filming? We're not done.
I'm so excited.
He's gonna be Dave. Wait, what's your Steve? I don't even know your name.
Is this Steve?
Steve. We have postponed the shoot 2 weeks to get mine and Hunter's schedules to line up.
A lot of pressure.
The pressure's on.
I haven't even looked at the script.
Yeah. Okay. Turn the cameras on. Alright, 2 weeks later, and we're finally filming the last scene. And if you remember from the intro of the video, Steve is the guy that visits me at night. He plays an important role, but I'm not gonna spoil anything. For now, we just need to film the final shot, which ended up taking forever because neither of us could really hold it together while looking at the toy camera.
It's a kid's toy. That's what you thought this was a security camera. Wait, what's mine? That's honestly the most insane thing ever to walk in. I already set it up, dude.
Yeah, they just sent it to me. It seemed legit.
Why'd you have to get that one?
So we eventually pulled it together and were able to get a few takes in without laughing. And just like that, the whole movie was shot. Now all that's left to do is dump the footage. And unfortunately, the camera had other plans. All right, this is actually kind of concerning.
Bro.
Again.
I'm gonna mess it up.
Come on.
Come on, baby.
The silence is terrifying.
Oh.
Yay.
It's weird. There's gotta be tension somehow. Tension is exactly what this camera provides. Don't get me wrong, it's fun to use, but being able to access the files kind of feels like a gamble. Luckily for us, we got all our footage saved, and it was time to say goodbye to the crew and move on to editing. Alright, so I have a few ideas to make this grainy, low-quality footage look a little bit more interesting. You might have noticed that the date and time is burned into all the shots from the camera. And I don't want that, especially because it still says it's 2022.
Bruh?
So the first thing I'm doing is making some security graphics that we can cover up the date with. Much better. I'm also adding a little audio animation that will pop up whenever we hear Dave talk through the camera. And I know these are pretty small changes, but I find that little adjustments like these can make or break a film. At this point, editing was going great, but suddenly, tragedy struck. Some of the footage is corrupted.
Oh,
I would be really mad, but then I keep remembering that I filmed this on a $9 camera. Let me show you what the problem is. Out of the 13 takes we filmed, we only did one with the lights turned off. We should try one without this light on, just to have one dark one. Yeah. This was by far our best take. The script felt natural, and overall, it was just scarier, and the mood felt better than the shots with the lights on. But it wasn't until I started editing that I noticed something strange. Did you see that?
Oh, no.
Let me play it again. Did I just teleport? Somehow, the part where I walked from the couch to the door is just deleted, vanished, nowhere to be seen. Literally every other one of the 12 takes are perfectly fine, but our favorite one is unusable. And that's when I decided to hang up the towel and call it quits on the movie. Just kidding. I decided to color grade one of the brighter takes to look like the darker take and use that one instead. And even though it doesn't look
actual madman,
and just like that, the problem is solved. Kind of makes you realize that there's always a solution. All right, I know I've poked a lot of fun at this camera, but in reality, it's pretty awesome. The fact that I'm making a somewhat serious short film with it is kind of mind-blowing to me. A few years ago, I would have never attempted something like this. Back then, I was far too focused on having the perfect gear for everything I made. And even though I'm happy with how those older films turned out, I only made a few of them because they were just too expensive and took too long to shoot. Lately, I'm starting to realize that I'd just rather create things more often than always trying to have the perfect setup. And trust me, in this case, the gear is far from perfect. But honestly, that's kind of the fun of it. Let's finish this movie. All right, we are so close, but I think we can make it better with a few new shots.
That's a shit ton of keyframe. Oh my god, that masking.
All right, I'm done. If you want to watch the movie, you can click the link right here. Also, if you want to try the challenge yourself, I'll leave a link to the kids' camera video camcorder down in the description. I think.
So let's see how he did.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a red light anywhere.
It can take a while to boot up. If it doesn't turn on in the next few minutes, we can start troubleshooting.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid.
What's the matter?
I think there's a lens cap. I think I forgot to take the lens cap off. Oh.
Oh, there you are.
You can see me?
Crystal clear. And it looks like all the other rooms are up as well.
These weren't supposed to come in until Friday, so I appreciate you helping me set them up early.
Yes, we're so glad you're satisfied, Mr. Carlton. Here at Secure Guard Home Solutions, we strive to bring you the utmost quality home monitoring.
Hey, I already bought the product. You don't need to sell me on it.
Of course. Sorry. I am just very passionate about our products.
How many fingers am I holding up?
3. 5.
Okay. Got a real test for you.
Haha, test away. Yeah, this isn't weird at all.
What am I doing now?
Well, it looks like you're trying to dance.
Oh, trying, okay.
Hey, Mr. Carlton, once you confirm that you are satisfied with your installation, I will no longer be able to access your cameras.
Unless the alarm's triggered?
Unless the alarm is triggered.
Well, in that case, hopefully we never talk again.
I would like that very much. Stay safe.
Hello?
Get dunked, nerd. Those are sad looking eggs.
It's a nice looking table.
That's true. I like the room guest he has.
Listen, just keep them away from the house.
Dave, you're on.
Huh? Oh.
What do you think you're doing? You insult the customer after you make the sale. Get out.
The sound design is very good, though.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very it is a strong point for sure.
For sure.
Hey, are you Isaac?
Yeah.
Perfect. My name's Steve. I'm an installer with Secure Guard Home. I popped by the other day, but some neighbors chased me off, said you were out of town or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, anyway, I've got your cameras right here. If you can sign this, I can...
I actually did the install myself, so I think we're all good.
What cameras?
The ones you sent me.
Man, we don't ship out cameras. Do you care if I come in and take a look?
Oh, of course.
Yeah?
It's on the back wall.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got a box and...
Okay.
Got it all set up.
I have never seen one of these before.
Don't worry, Mr. Carlton. With Secure Guard Home Solutions, you'll have peace of mind because we're always watching.
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah. $10 camera? Very good shot. Anyway. Ooh, this next one is also posted by Brandon. Thank you, Brandon.
Who's Brandon?
Brandon Lovelace. my mod.
Nice. We love moderators.
We love moderators. Yeah, it is them down there in the chat. It's them.
I see them.
All right.
Hi.
How AI
joined in.
How AI stole the sparkles emoji.
Aww.
Oh, this one's a 30-minute one. Let's go.
Oh Jesus,
I wonder if you've seen this a lot recently. See, this is the sparkle emoji, and over the years, it's
like
been
the
used
sparkle
for
emoji a bunch,
lot of
though.
things.
It's very cute.
Magic, fairy dust. Samsung decided to use it for fireworks one time,
What?
and more recently, since maybe around 2019 or 2020, I started using it for other things. Sometimes it was just to add some flair. Sometimes it was just a vibe or a sparky response. I can't even really tell you what, but maybe that's the entire reason that it's good, right? Because whatever I'm trying to communicate with this can't really be described with words. Anyway, in 2021, the internet started using this thing constantly, this time as a form of emphasis, some irony maybe. But the popularity of this thing took off. So much so that for a time it took the number 3 spot of most used emoji in the world, according to scraped Twitter data.
I love
And
how
it took that
pleading
from
was
the
right below it.
I love how that's there, and then the top 2 were the fucking worst crying emojis.
Literally, these are all the fucking bottom emojis. Jesus Christ.
So you know the internet
Do
was
bottoms do the sparkle emoji?
and that's great.
I don't.
We're vibing. We're having fun.
Oh.
We like the emoji.
Well,
But
maybe
then
you're not a real
in late
bottom.
2023, something happened.
Our main story tonight concerns artificial intelligence, or AI.
And as AI gets better and better, it's only going to make it more difficult to separate fact from fiction.
Despite what you hear about artificial intelligence, machines still can't think like a human. But in the last few years, they have become capable of learning.
AI.
AI.
AI. AI. AI. AI.
AI. In 2023, AI became the thing. It wasn't crypto or the metaverse or the Internet of Things or 3D TVs. It was AI, and it still is AI. Seemingly overnight, that emoji that I used to add that spice that a lot of the internet like to use for drama and excitement and sarcasm, suddenly it was used to signify artificial intelligence. Almost every single feature that in the last year and a half has had that sparkle emoji.
No, not my
slapped onto it, which is the
commodification.
claim that they're AI featured. And you know, maybe they are. Is it the new kind of AI that set off that chain reaction in the industry? Transformer architectures and large language models and stable diffusion? Sometimes, but also sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just the same old automation and machine learning that we've been using for decades. And sometimes I'm not even sure you could consider some of this stuff AI at all.
This is an entirely separate conversation.
Why the sparkles?
Not on the topic.
Why did this industry decide to bootstrap my favorite emoji as its new mascot?
Now hold
I mean, there are
on.
a
Just
lot
because
of
he has a
options.
very
So I
long
started
intro
looking at
paragraph,
this,
I'm still
and at
waiting
first,
for the
I was
thesis
working
statement.
Yeah, honestly, this is a very long intro.
Month by month, year by year, looking for some indication as to why this industry decided to ship the sparkle emoji with every single new feature and update. And I found some early examples, like in 2020, Google Photos added this sparkle emoji as a button on the auto enhancement feature. And before that, in 2018, Twitter added this algorithmic timeline button with a...
What's your pet theory for this right now? Because my pet theory is it sparkles, so it's meant to signify magic, which is what they're trying to which is the idea that they're trying to impose with the AI and other stuff.
But I feel like the thing with AI is, yes, it's magic, but the thing that makes it more ideal for it is usually the AI is being pitched more so the average consumer.
As
It's like
I say it as like magic, but you know what I mean.
Well, magic. I was trying to get to there in a second.
Yeah.
Is generative IA, efficient art intelligence.
Hey, weren't we talking about spoonerisms before the stream started?
I know, right?
I know, right?
I know, right? But anyways, the idea is generative IA.
You did it again!
Generative AI basically tries to create creative content out of the ether by basically oversynthesizing without taking any sort of real element of humanity from the aspect of it. So the idea is, I think to me, the sparkle is more trying to like lift from like the old iconography of like Hollywood stuff, where you add like the sparkles to show the magic of movie making. So like the idea of that is more like the sparkle emoji is like probably the quickest thing you could have to make it not just be like, oh, this is for movies. Like, no, it's tech magic.
Yes.
Like, I don't think it's trying to be magic in the sense of just like, hey, Grok. Yes, guess Burl, what can I do for you? Can you make the wizard cast Fireball off of a D12?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I can't do that. Thank you for the raid.
Thank you for
Cafe
the raid.
Arcadia.
Can we get a shout out? Welcome, friends. How's it going? If you haven't seen me before, my name is Smole. I'm a Hexblade, head Guildmaster Chief Barista. I'm over here with Burl. What was the last game you were playing? I think it was... Oh no. The Cold Echo, thank you for the follow! Yay! Actually, great timing, because I didn't say this beforehand, but I actually I actually did not test any of the new notifications, because I actually swapped out from using Stream. I basically disconnected myself from Stream Elements, and this is all this is running on no third-party stuff. Because
No, it's not pronounced like, it's just like guest, like
it's
guess. It's literally just best girl, but the G and the B switch places.
It's a spoonerism.
It's a spoonerism.
Yay! New word today, spoonerism. Yay! Robbie OBS power? I guess so, yeah. Like, the notifications are Twitch powered. Instead of getting payments through Stream Elements, I'm using Ko-fi down there if you want to donate. That type of thing. Mainly because I didn't want to use Stream Elements more, because I don't want to support a company that has sus ideas. If you remember that. So I wanted to dump them as fast as I could, and I finally took the initiative to do so. So that's
I
nice.
need to look into it more myself.
It's not too bad.
Now here's a question for you, Olma, now that chat sort of brought it up. How do you pronounce .gif as a full word?
GIF.
I say GIF too, thank you. I'm glad I was someone that actually has some sensibility in this house.
Yeah, in comparison to, I think it was the creator of the format, made an announcement as to how it was made. Like, they said it was, they basically said, choosy moms use GIF. Which is, not necessarily what I want, but, you know, it is.
Are you more of a Skippy girl?
Are you more of a what?
Are you more of a Skippy girl?
A little bit. Anyway, we were watching a video on how AI took the funny sparkle emoji and turned it into something...
Yes, you keep on rolling that. I'm gonna do this hot girl bullshit called peeing.
Yeah, you go piss girl. Woo! Go piss girl!
Sparkle on it that switched you between news feeds, and before that, Google added a single sparkle to Google Docs for its Explore feature, which, to be honest, looks a hell of a lot like the new dazzling AI-enhanced features that we're seeing right now. But you know, working backwards has some limits, right? Like, you can search for days or months, and yeah, maybe you'll find some pretty early examples, but then you find fringe things, like the fact that GE Healthcare has apparently been using the sparkle emoji since before any of these things.
What?
So if I can't figure out when, I guess the question
Gotta
I
fade
should be
food
asking
and work.
myself
Of
is,
course!
why?
You go take a break.
And
Thanks for
why
having me take care of your
Right,
viewers.
so let's go back before ChatGPT, before Twitter, or Google, or any of that. Let's go back to when the sparkle emoji became an emoji.
Panda, thank you for the follow!
Alright, so every character that we can display on our devices has to be represented by numbers. That's how computers work, right? A series of these ones and zeros are vectors. They're pointers that point to
I think my
other
chat
things.
stuff stopped
Like if you're
working
using the capital Latin letter A,
Oh,
that's
no.
represented by U plus
Oh,
004.
bother.
Oh no, I'll have to deal with that later.
Just a picture. All alphabets are pictures. fractions are pictures, emojis are pictures. Like if you're referencing anything from a keyboard onto a computer, that computer needs to know what symbol in the huge database to point
boy,
to.
we're talking
The
about
Western Armenian
fonts.
capital letter Keem is U plus 0533.
I like
the
fonting
fraction
with
representing
girls.
2/3 is U plus 2154. And the sparkle emoji? Well, the sparkle emoji is U plus 2728. Every character that you can represent on a computer is stored in a huge encoding matrix called Unicode. And getting a new character added is not a small situation, right? You've got to draft a proposal, present to a committee, get approval. Like, it's a pretty huge process. So sure, maybe adding an alphabet is a pretty easy ask, but adding an emoji is a whole separate situation, right? Like, you've got to prove that that emoji is culturally relevant and significant. And if we just added every emoji we had an idea for, that encoding matrix would be infinitely larger than it already is. But every once in a while, new emoji does get added to Unicode, and eventually everyone gets the same ones. Maybe not the exact same representations, like those are decided by the platforms, but I should be able to send you a sparkle emoji, and you should receive the sparkle emoji. So okay, if we look back through the emoji versions, trying to find when the sparkle emoji got added, we can go back and back. We know that it was an emoji 15.0, turns out it was an emoji 5.0. And if you go back further and further, it turns out that the sparkle emoji is an emoji 1.0 in 2015. But we were using emoji before 2015, right? Like, this is clearly not a new concept. And the answer to that is yes, but it's also that 2015 was the first year that Unicode thought that emoji were important enough to spin out into their own numbering scheme. So even though 2015 is when emoji 1.0 came out, it actually came out alongside Unicode 8.0.
Yeah.
Fun. So it turns out that Unicode has actually supported emoji since Unicode 6.0, which was released in 2010. And guess what? The sparkle emoji is there too. So okay, we track the sparkle emoji back to Unicode 6.0.
Just imagine it.
I swear if he
just imagine it. In 2 years, sparkle emoji can get their driver's permit.
Crazy. Also, I swear, if he does not talk about the origins of emoji in this, I'm actually going to be a little bit upset because he's obfuscating a fact that's important. But we'll see if it gets there.
But that still doesn't really explain what they mean, right? And also, if you look at all the other emoji that were released in 6.0, there's a lot of random stuff in here. Like, what is this symbol? And what does this mean? And why is this here? Like, if I were to go and decide these are all the emoji we're starting with, I'm just not sure that I would have included the sparkles. But then I found these documents.
I'm legitimately waiting for him
February
to talk about the
2008,
history of this
Google
stuff.
engineers
Come
led
on.
by Mark Davis submitted this document to Unicode. He was trying to get them to add emoji as characters that Unicode was officially supposed to handle. Unicode had previously said that it was a little bit out of their scope, but this time it was a little bit different. Mark and his team weren't just asking Unicode to support emoji, they were submitting a document that pretty much laid out the encoding of every emoji that existed at the time. You might notice that there are 3 different versions of each emoji in this document, with one of these 3 being proposed as the Unicode representation. And if you keep digging, you'll see that, maybe unfortunately for me, Mark's grandiose emoji creation effort was not a single emoji creation effort. It was, maybe more fittingly, a unifying emoji creation effort. Because before Unicode, there wasn't just one single set of emoji, there were multiple. Before Unicode 6.0, there were 3 major competing emoji sets pretty much exclusively in Japan. But instead of having
okay, we're getting
encoding
somewhere.
for how all these emojis should be displayed, each of these companies just kind of made stuff. Like, sometimes they overlapped, but not always. And this was not a good situation. Like, sometimes you'd send an emoji to a friend on a different telecom, and they'd receive a totally different one. Sometimes one of the telecoms would make a similar, but not exactly similar emoji. And sometimes you just receive a pile of garbled nonsense. They even made a term for this called emoji bake. So Mark saw this and thought, okay, well, that's not good. Like, let's not do that. But let's also not redo all of the work that these Japanese telecoms have been working on for, I don't know, decades now. So Unicode just kind of took all of the emoji that these telecoms made and encoded them into Unicode with its own representation for each. And then proposed it in this new document. And guess who's there? But if all 3 of these companies have a sparkle emoji, one of them had to make the sparkle emoji first, right? Like, assume one of them made it, it got really popular, and then everyone else copied them. So I'm searching all these names, and immediately one of them pops out to me. According to the New York Museum of Modern Art, the original set of emoji was made by NTT Docomo, and they have them displayed in the museum. The New York Museum of Modern Art is in New York. I live in New York. I think you can see where this is
going. Go to the MoMA. MoMA! Yay! MoMA! MoMA! I want to go there someday.
I want to go to the Mutter Museum. There we go.
Okay, so as you can see, there are a ton of emoji here, 176. You've got all the classics that you'd expect to see, like the heart, the sun, but right there, is the sparkle emoji. So the MoMA says this is from NTT Docomo, and they actually have a whole book and tons of information from emoji's creator, Shigetaka Kurita. So the story goes that NTT Docomo, Mr. Kurita's employer, was working on this really early form of mobile internet called iMode way back in 1997. And remember, this is way before smartphones or anything like that. So we still had flip phones with an extremely limited amount of space. Now, when you have limited space, Mr. Kurita had this idea to create emoji, with E meaning picture and moji meaning emotion, to really take advantage of those small screens. And remember, this is way back in 1997. So it turns out these AI companies aren't using something from 2021 or 2015 or even 2010. It turns out the sparkle emoji is way more OG than that.
Yeah, emojis were Japanese creation.
In 1997. But then how did something that was made in 1997 become the symbol of our current
What year were you born?
Like, it didn't originally
95.
mean AI, right?
Okay, good. We're both older than Sparkle.
What was it for?
It's cool.
Like, what was the sparkle emoji for? You can ask a lot of people, and they're probably all going to tell you slightly different things. Some people might say it's magic. Some people might say it's just flair. But I think the only way to actually figure out what it was for is to go ask the guy that invented it.
Okay, we're going deep. I didn't actually expect going this deep. If I hear the phrase kira kira in this, I'm gonna freak. Because I'm like, yeah, of course it's going to be. What?
So if it exists,
Thank you.
Did you have a question?
No.
Okay.
My name is Shigetaka Kurita. And 私が、絵文字を、開発したんですけれども、今はですね、日本の動画プラットフォーム。
He's the COO of Nico Nico Doga? Oh my god! Yo, what a glow up. I didn't even know that. I'm sorry, man. He's up in high places. This is dope. Didn't Nico Nico Doga, was Nico Nico Doga before YouTube?
I don't know.
I think it did.
I'm just here to be funny. I'm not a nerd like you are.
Oh, that's cool. Nico Nico Doga... 2006.
I think YouTube was 05, wasn't it?
05. But they're... Yeah, okay, they're off almost by like an entire year. 2 years.
とか生放送のプラットフォームであるニコニコという会社の仕様をやっています。
How did you decide what emojis to use for the very first set that you proposed to NTT Docomo? And did you propose emoji to them, or did they suggest that you develop these and make these yourself?
でその話なんですけど、まず200個ぐらい作れるということが分かってから、じゃあどういう絵文字を作ろうかっていうふうに考えたときに、絵文字の種類が3種類大きく、分けて3種類あるなと考えました。でまず一つは最初のきっかけ一つ目になったコンテンツをリッチに見せるっていう、いわゆるコンテンツ表示させるためにあった方がいいなと思う絵文字。具体的には、天気の絵文字、それから例えばスポーツの種類のようなニュースで使うような絵文字、それからなんかその街情報とかを表示する際のなんかそのハサミで美容院をだったりとかそのなんだろうなハンバーガーみたいなハンバーガー 店
Yes,
だったり
so it's
とか
for a
飲食に
salon.
飲食店用の絵文字だったり、まあ、そういうような、情報に関係する絵文字っていうのが1種類目。2種類目がさっきのきっかけの2つにあった、感情を表現するような絵文字、喜怒哀楽だったりとか、まあ、あとなんかそのキラキラしてるマークだったり、いわゆるデコレーションするような、絵文字。最後がこれサービスに必要ななんかフリー無料。
Wait, did he say the thing? He said the thing, I think I heard.
He said Kara.
まあ、あとなんかその
I'm
キラキラし
right!
てるマークだったり、いわゆるデコレーションするような、絵文字。
I'm
最
right!
後がこれサービスに必要ななんかフリー無料とか ID とかパスワードとか、まあ、そういうそのサービスのプラットフォームとしてあった方が、そのサービス的に使いやすい絵文字で、この3種類の中で、まずはその、よく汎用的に使いそうな、まずそこでもうどんなコンテンツが提供されるとか、まあ、占いがあります。じゃあ占いのマーク入れましょうとか、まあ、ある程度、コンテンツが提供するコンテンツ決まってたんで、そこから使われそうなものをピックアップしました。
I'll look down so I
で
can find the good
メ
shit.
ールに関して
I mean, yeah.
その感情の絵文字に関してはこれはベースになってるのは日本の漫画がベースになっていて、漫画でよくその記号だけで
Oh,
感情表
I
現す
heard
るよ
it.
うなも
I
の
heard it. I heard it.
が日本にはあって、まあ、汗のマークだったりとかキラキラしてるマークだったりとか、そういうものを漫画の中からピックアップをして、それで選びました。っていうので、まずとにかく多分何百、最初は200
Weebs
人
win!
何百、まあ多分300とか400とか、集めた中から200に絞っていくことをやりました。これはもう全部自分で、やっています。
I want to hone in on one specific emoji that I've been kind of ruminating on for a long time, and that's the sparkles emoji. Am I correct that that was in the original set of emoji that you invented?
で入ってて、あれはやっぱり漫画の表現なんですよね。漫画でなんかその例えばなんでしょうね、表情が輝いてる時とかに顔の近くにキラキラとか、物がなんかその物を強調して輝かせて見せたい時にマークっていうのは昔から漫画で使われてたものを、まあ、絵文字に取り込んだものですね。
So at least in the United States, people have started over the last 5 to 10 years, or probably 3 to 5 years, using the sparkles emoji as like an emphasis emoji. So they'll say something like, I just did this and that's growth, and they'll put sparkles on either side of the emoji. Is that something that also happens in Japan at all? And did you ever expect that that particular emoji would be used for other reasons than the intended original use?
Hey, real quick, what kind of question is that? Because that is the same thing. People in the US use it for emphasis. Do the people in Japan use this for emphasis? He just explained that it's a descriptor for somebody's emotions, so the answer is yes.
I mean, listen, I never expected Homeboy to be a good interviewer.
He was a no, like he's saying it's so weird to like, it's like in Japan we use it for this. Well, in America they use it for the same thing. Does Japan like it's like weird backwards thinking. It's like we do it like this. Do you do it like this? It was like
to me,
no.
Like to me, it's like it listens like, you know, like that thing that happens in like misogyny where like you as a female say something smart and intelligent, and then like as soon as like your male counterpart says it, they get credit for it, and it sounds like socially credible out of their mouth. It kind of sounds like that, but instead of it being like, you know, like
so you're
is like,
so you're saying the interviewer has a Eurocentric view of it?
Maybe, or maybe it's more like Eurocentrism in order to appeal to like the general audience space that he has. I rather just Homeboy is just bad at interviews. I really don't.
Because the thing beforehand about like a Google creator drafting the proposal, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was framed like he invented the emoji system, which is not true. Or like which is not necessarily true. The creation of the document was to include every single character, like all the important characters that would have been in Unicode version 1, right? And and emojis are part of that. They had to the only reason why we have emojis is a backwards compatibility issue. And yeah. So like I don't know why are we thinking about like Hold on. Let me go back to the question. I want to hear it again because maybe I was a little too upset for it. But let's just.
Yeah. Okay. Take a moment.
Let's just try again.
So at least in the United States, people have started over the last 5 to 10 years, or probably 3 to 5 years, using the sparkles emoji as like an emphasis emoji. So they'll say something like, I just did this and that's growth, and they'll put sparkles on either side of the emoji. Is that something that also happens in Japan at all? And
Okay,
did you
so
ever
pause it.
expect that
Wait, hold on.
that
I need to hear
particular
the
emoji
second
would be
half of
used
that.
for other reasons than the intended original use?
That's the intended original use.
No, okay, so I think I know what's going on here. I think Homeboy is not articulating the question correctly, because what the interviewee is saying more is the idea that the sparkles are usually used in things to add emphasis, but it's more so like a wondrous emphasis. And I think the thing here is like getting the adjectives to what the emphasis is doing, because in the original Japanese context that the interviewee is elaborating on, it's more for like the sense of like wonder and like being like ecstatic of something. Whereas like in the American lens scope of it and like the usage of it, it's more so adding like the sense of like sort of humorous irony and like that sort of like millennial sense of humor way in order to use it. But because like these adjectives aren't being used in the conversation to distinctly like separate them, it's basically just kind of muddling them out. I think that's what's going on here. I think they have different ideas of what they want to portray, but they're not exactly saying it in such distinct words that like they snap and get into place. So what's happening more is like, yes, they're used for emphasis, but it's like, I mean, yeah, I can use coffee grounds and like chocolate to make it pop, but I'm not gonna put coffee grounds on like my friggin' cinnamon roll unless I want to be quirky. And I think that's the difference here. Is like one is like more
Like he's trying,
Yeah.
the interviewer's trying to say, in America, we've recently started using this emoji to emphasize sarcasm and irony.
Yeah, but he's not actually saying sarcasm and irony. He's just saying like, we're doing this. And it's like, okay, but describe what this really is.
And then he's like, does Japan use it in the same way? Which the answer will always be no, because culture and language changes over time, especially on the internet. So whatever Japan's doing is not going to be necessarily the same, even though they have the same base. I'm like, it's such a weird question. I would say that it's a very poor question.
It's one of those questions where I don't feel like it's screened correctly, because again, I think the intent is there. It's just without having these adjectives to actually describe the differences in like the applications, it just falls into this very weird muddled pool of just like, yeah, I guess they're both the same smile emoji. It's just like, no?
You know what? The one, like, if I had to give feedback about how he's doing this is, I wish... This might happen later on, because we're halfway in the video only. Like, I wish there is some form of linguistics talk that happens here. I'm not sure if that's gonna happen, though. But we'll find out, and let's find out what like his answer is, I guess.
はしないです。日本ではなくて、日本が使うときは後ろだけにつける、文末につけて、どちらかというとポジティブな、これはポジティブなあなたへの意見というかコメントですよっていうなんだろうな。多分ハートだと愛情になっちゃうし、びっくりだと強調になっちゃうんで、それでもないどういう意味にしようかな。まあなんかふわっとポジティブ。なものとしてものすごく使い勝手がいい使われ方をしているので、ちょっとその使いわれ方の違いが面白いと思いました。
Something that has specifically interested me recently is that...
Okay, so the answers to the question was basically, we don't use it the same way because our languages are different. That's it. Which is... That feels like a high school answer. Like, you know, that feels like a easy answer.
Roses are red. Water is wet.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, of course we use them differently. We speak different languages, and the format of each language is different.
Format and also just probably general cultural thing, because like I
Also
don't think
general
the
cultural thing, because here the thing is
Yeah.
that sarcasm does not necessarily fly a lot in Japanese.
Yeah.
Sarcasm doesn't necessarily happen the same way as it does in Japan. So like the English speaking person is using it in a context that Japan does not have, or at least isn't used often. So like it's I don't know, like he's circling the drain of a right answer and it's just not going well.
I think Homeboy needs to go back to Intro to English, honestly.
Homeboy needs to get he's a tech VTuber. He's a tech tuber, not a linguistics professor. I've seen oh nope, my hat's not there. I've seen better like journalistic thoroughness from other branches, from other people too, so he's not immune to this. You know? Anyway.
Probably in the last 2 years, with the rise of artificial intelligence in the United States and around the world on the internet, AI companies have started using the sparkle emoji for new AI features. So now when they release
That
a new
Raycast
feature or
AI
a new
icon
product
looks
and they
like
call
the
it something
redstone block
AI,
from Minecraft.
they always put the sparkle emoji immediately after that. And have you seen that, or do you know a lot about that at all?
いや、いいこと、面白いと思いますよ。なので、まあ、アメリカのミームなのかな、何かそのイメージとしてキラキラが今 AI っていうその最先端なものにふさわしいからこれをつけてるっていうのは、絵文字っての使われ方の一つはやっぱり同じ価値観とか同じコンテキストを持ってる人たちの中でこれはこういう意味だよねっていう風に使われる使い方もあって、それがその全然違うカルチャーとか全然違うコンテキストがわからない人には通じないっていうものだったりするんで、そういうその使われ方としては正しいし非常に面白い現象だと思います。
Oh my god, he answered the question right. He answered the question right. He just said the thing that we just said. So, okay, he has a better understanding.
Are you surprised at how these companies have like taken to use it for artificial intelligence, and like does that make sense to you in the context of the Japanese way of using the emoji?
基本的には面白いので肯定的なんですけど、なので、日本でもしそういう風になってもおかしくはない。全然日本人も受け入れられるコンテキストだとは思います。はい。なんかのきっかけでだから例えば AI、日本でもいろいろいろんな AI が使われ始めてますけど、そういうその AI の会社がそのキラキラマークを必ずつけたりとかしてれば、日本でもその AI にはキラキラつけるんだっていうふうにもう刷り込まれていくので、そのうち自然になってくると思いますね。日本で使われてやっぱチャット GPT 使われてるんで、チャット GPT の最初にキラキラついてたらみんなもう AI キラキラなのって普通に思うと思います。
I can show you all of the
yeah.
every single.
Maybe he should have started with that part, but okay.
Tech company always all use them.
なのでなんだろうな、なのですでにあるものを絵文字に置き換えるっていうのが絵文字の役割なので、新しい AI の絵文字を作るはもうそれなんか新しいコーポレートロゴだったりとか、なんか0から1を作るものとまたちょっと違う、それはなんか絵文字というよりは単純にコーポレ CI デザインみたいなものなので、ちょっとそこが違うかなとは思います。
Is that emoji something that's being used with AI stuff in Japan already, or has it not gotten here yet?
日本ではまだ使われてないんですよ。なのでちょっと
I can't tell if he's editing this poorly or if these questions are just out of order and he's reordering them in edits.
I mean, all I feel right now is this dude's face, honestly, to this whole interview.
Yeah, because he just, like...
We literally answered this, like, 2 questions ago!
He answered this question! The answer is no! Which is... Bro, you need to edit that out if you ask the question that he already had the answer to. And he did. And I'm like, there's clearly a translator in the room. That's how he's doing this interview. What? Bro.
びっくりしました。でもアメリカがそうだといずれそうなるかもしれないですね。
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you very
Really
much.
appreciate it. Yeah,
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
How are we only 20 minutes in?
So, at this point, we have traced the sparkle emoji all the way back to 1997. And it turns out that in Japan, at least, they have a pretty concrete meaning, right? They don't mean AI, they're not used for irony. They mean like glamour or beauty or cuteness. And there's not even really a direct English translation.
That's not even what that was, but okay. Glamour, beauty, cuteness? That's not even...
It's like maybe see.
That's
It's more like just adding emphasis of like
wonder.
to joy.
Yeah, wonder and amazement and interest. Like, that's not
Like my eyes see
beauty.
the sparkle emojis when I look at you. Like,
okay,
that's what it's like. Yeah.
Okay.
For them.
Listen,
The
I'm a
closest you're gonna
simple
get
lesbian.
is
I'm just trying to get the
Kira
chat
or
a
Fishy
simple
sparkles. So now that we know
example.
what icon was
Fishy
originally
sparkles!
for, I think we can finally start to move forward.
Drop that
to
there,
figure out how
bro!
we went from this to this. And fortunately enough, I know a few people that might have a lot of insight on this.
It's part of what I would call the vocabulary of Japanese visual language, which is fairly uniform across media.
This is Neil Cohn. He runs the Visual Language Lab, and he also happens to be the guy that designed the melting face and the disappearing face emojis, so I think we can trust him.
In Japan, the Japanese visual language of essentially what looks like manga is everywhere. Like, it's on all the instruction manuals look like manga. All the, literature looks like manga. It's not to say it's the only graphic style.
Hold on, what the fuck was that?
I think that was manga Harry Potter. Yeah. Deathly Hollows. Bruh?
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 What kind of example is that? I'm not like saying that this is a bad example. I'm just like, what the fuck?
I think it's kind of left field.
Probably
yeah,
a book cover. Actually, you know what? Probably a book cover.
Well, yeah.
I can
yeah,
see
book
this
cover
one.
Makes more sense. I mean, think about it this way. Like, remember the original book cover for Deathly Hollows? That is just kind of so, like...
It's like, I guess it's a localized cover.
I'm fine with the localized cover.
Because we see the author's name here. I'm trying to figure out what this says.
Probably just, like, some sort of idolization of, like...
Oh, no, it's Harry Potter and then Deathly Hallows. That's what it is.
Yeah. Like, just the English name in Japanese. I mean, yeah, it probably makes sense to me to, like, do that, especially because, like, if you think of it this way, like, usually with, like, book covers and manga covers especially, they're usually trying to portray exactly what's going more so on the plot, whereas, like, if you look at, like, the original book covers, like, Harry Potter, it's just, like, all they really do is give you, like...
a scene to maybe
like,
use.
one little scene, but it's, like, it's not even, like, a fully developed scene like this. It's just sort of like, okay, I guess Homeboy is just looking backwards in a dimly lit corridor in some fuck-ass alley. It's just like, no, this actually tells me what the hell I'm getting into. It's just like, okay.
As a side note, this does not look like Harry Potter. That just looks like Daniel Radcliffe in a later movie.
I mean, yeah, but...
No, I mean, I want to say is, like, this looks like Daniel Radcliffe in Guns Akimbo. Like,
that's fine, honestly.
I like how different he looks instead of... Like, how old was, like, Harry Potter in Deathly Hallows? Like, he's still, like, less than... I don't know.
Like, Radcliffe or Harry Potter, the character?
The character.
I want to say probably, like, 16, 17.
Yeah, no, he looks like 20 in here.
That's fine.
Oh, whatever. Anyway. Oh, hi, Brandon. You dropped in.
Hello. That's not my username anymore, but it's fine. I'm okay with it.
Am I being too harsh?
I think you make a lot of assumptions about a lot. I think you assume the worst about a lot of content that gets put on this channel. I'm just saying.
I mean, listen, I'm be real. I don't
like the first like 5 minutes. You were like, oh, he's not gonna go into the history of the emoji. Literally flies and meets the guy. Regardless.
Okay, to be fair though, like
it's not
like okay.
The format is not structured in a way that I was expecting.
To be fair, like I feel like what this is like, I'm watching a very prolonged travel channel fucking documentary on this shit. It's like, just don't bore me, get to the chorus, please.
To me, it feels like he was starting out like, this is where we are present day. and working his way backwards. And now we've come to that loop, and now we're going back to where we were at the beginning, which is okay. Why are the AI companies using it now that we know where it came from?
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels long-winded to me.
He's still in the phase of we need to find out what these mean when he already went to Japan and now is asking.
Oh, no, he's asking him, okay, well, why are AI companies using this like random emoji that
Some
comes
say
from
it's the
manga?
only graphic style that exists there.
The Japanese visual
Let's just
language of
keep
manga
going.
and anime is on everything. It is everything. It's in the subway and instruction manuals and the immigration part of the airport. It's really deeply embedded into their culture. I mean, just watch what Mr. Kurita said one more time.
メールに関しつけるその感情の絵文字に関してはこれはベースになってるのは日本の漫画がベースになっていて、漫画でよくその記号だけで感情を表現するようなものが
Japan developed this culture of icons and symbols representing their emotions and things like manga and anime. And because manga is such a huge part of their visual language, those icons and symbols eventually just made their way into their culture in general. And that led to some pretty interesting developments.
Sparkles are what I would call a visual affix. They have to attach to something else. Believe plus ubble. Ubble is the affix. The sparkles in the original context are affixes, meaning they have to attach to something to indicate that
Ooh,
thing
shiny
as
rock.
being cute.
Manga has a
Bibu.
ton of
It's Bibu.
These emotional cues that help you know exactly what the characters are feeling. Like, have you ever seen this or this? These are both Japanese visual affixes, and they only have the meaning they do because they've been contextualized.
I don't know what the one on the right is, actually.
This looks like a hypercube.
By Japanese
What is the
visual
left
culture.
one?
But do you remember how we got emoji in the first place? In 2008, those Google engineers and Unicode didn't want to create a whole new set of emoji because, again, the entire point of emoji is that we're all able to communicate without any encoding errors or like emoji bake. So they just took everything that Japan had already done and added them to their emoji. So suddenly, the rest of the world using Unicode had to contend with these icons and symbols and visual affixes that they didn't have any context for. I mean, seriously, go look through your emoji keyboard right now. You're gonna see a ton of symbols that you don't have any context for. You see yen constantly, you see a bunch of references to Japan. It's wild, right? So when you see something like this that you don't have any pre-existing context for, there's a couple of different ways that your brain can interpret it. The first way is through something called iconicity. That's when the icon just means what it looks like. Like, think about the sun. It is just a sun. It means the sun.
Sure
But
is
then
the
there's something
sun.
called symbolicity, which means, yeah, the icon could have a literal meaning, but there's also additional symbolic meaning right on top. So, for example, that sun could also symbolically mean happy. In our conversation, Neil specifically mentioned the light bulb. Like, it is
Doesn't
a
mean
literal
that.
light bulb, but at least where I'm from, it also means inspiration. Or something even like the skull emoji, right? Like right now, people are using the skull emoji to mean humor or like a form of existential dread. But it also is a literal skull, right? That symbolicity is super contextual. It's very localized culturally. Now, the internet is kind of like a giant culture, and if you're part of that, maybe you do see these icons changing over time. But there's so many things that are so specific to small groups that you're not going to understand what they mean at all when you see them. The skull emoji is actually a pretty good example of that. It started with, "That's so funny, I'm dying," and it changed to "I'm dying," which changed to "I'm dead," which went to dead, and then just the skull emoji. We've got a lot of symbols that started out that way. You know, like the cap emoji, fire, popcorn. The meaning of symbols change at the speed of culture. But what happens when you don't understand the context of an icon? Like, for example, recently I saw the cap emoji for the first time, and I didn't know what it meant, and I felt real dumb. And the only thing that I could fall back on was the iconicity of the cap emoji, which was a literal hat, and that's clearly not what it means. In the case of these Japanese visual affixes, there's nothing to fall back on because they don't actually represent anything real. They're more emotional cues. Like this icon. It's not a real thing. It's just used to represent cuteness or beauty.
That's
for
supposed
like
to be
the anger
cuteness?
icon.
What? Hold up. No, what is that emoji supposed to be? Hold on.
I don't even know what you would call that. It just looks like a weird, like, geometric symbol.
We're gonna look. We're gonna find it.
We're gonna learn.
We're gonna learn.
Finding out on a Friday.
We're gonna learn it. There it is.
Was it diamond? What's it say? Diamond with a dot.
Okay, it's kawaii. Yeah. Okay.
That's so weird.
Resembling the shape of a flower.
It did not look like a flower in that depiction.
You say so. Oh,
Very.
You say so, fam.
Hold on. Let's go.
Okay, well, okay. Some of these variants look a little more like a flower, but the iOS one, iOS/macOS.
Let's hold on. Let's just keep going and see how far. That looks like a ghost from Destiny.
It does look like a Destiny ghost. That wizard came from the moon.
Hold, I'm trying to find what the origin, where the oldest. Oh. This looks better, honestly.
That doesn't even look like a diamond.
That's not. No, it's not. It's a flower.
It's a flower, yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a flower.
Well, it's supposed to resemble a flower, but it's called diamond with a dot.
That's what its name is. I mean, it doesn't have a. Yeah.
You're a diamond with a dot.
Also known as diamond flower in kawaii. Okay. Oh no, the Engi emoji.
I
mean,
wonder
it was
what,
originally
like, where that came from to like become the symbol for anger. It's just very.
Oh, this.
Very, yeah, like I always thought it was like maybe it's like supposed to be your brain.
No, it's supposed to be a blood vessel.
Yeah, it's basically like your
when you focus so hard that you like your veins pop out of your head.
Mm-hmm.
Like that one fucking image of like that dude who's just like brains, blood vessels about to fucking explode.
Yeah. That's what this is. Except you're doing it in anger
on someone's head.
Yeah.
Then that got conventionalized enough to become this on someone's head.
Yep.
Then that became conventionalized enough to be on a rock and make the rock angry. And now it's just the icon for anger. But the sparkles are an interesting
Angie rock.
Right? Because they're not technically something that exists in real life. But they are something that something else does. Like water glimmers, stars twinkle. Maybe that's why Samsung used them as fireworks?
When it was first introduced to the Western world, people began to use it not quite in this way, but as a kind of decoration across, posts on various social platforms.
That was Keith Broney. He runs Emojipedia, and he's been an insanely valuable resource, especially with the fact checking. When the sparkles emoji first got
why did he
exported to the rest
introduce
of the
him
world, people started using it in
afterwards?
this fun, decorative way. Because what does it resemble? Well, one thing could be glitter, right? It kind of shines. And just like you might put glitter on your name tag at a party, people started putting digital glitter on their digital name tags. We didn't have the context of kita
World's
kita, which is
shittiest
supposed to be
Oshi mark.
cuteness or beauty or glamour. So we just had to lean on the iconicity of the sparkles, which is shininess. It shines. A lot of things shine. It's a pretty adaptable emoji.
You know, what's great, I think, about Sparkle is it means nothing and everything. It's very contextually dependent, and that allows people to imbue it with meaning.
I also talked to Jennifer Daniel for this story. She's the current chair of the emoji subcommittee of the Unicodes Consortium. Long phrase, I know. Also a designer at Google. And if you like Emoji Kitchen, she did that too.
I think that flexibility, like on its own, what is a sparkle? What does that mean, really? Like, sure, it means magic, I guess. But like in a sentence, like it was so great to see you, it sounds so sarcastic. It has such range. It has such range.
People used the sparkles for digital decoration for a long time, but as culture changed and the internet became more prevalent, Western culture became a lot more sarcastic, a lot more ironic. And at some point in the last few years, this self-deprecating kind of existential dread humor took over. This is basically the humor of Gen Z. Nothing is serious.
What do you mean by that, man? The general sense of anxiety has existed post 9/11.
Yeah, bro, this is millennial humor.
This is
humor.
No.
Humor.
Irony posting is post 9/11.
No, I disagree. Irony humor is like post 2012, not post 9/11. And
are you saying irony posting is like Tumblr era then?
No, I would say like if you look at like internet memes, for example, like you see stuff like Velociraptor and stuff, and like there's obviously an era of humor to all like old internet memes. But if you look at that versus like something like Stonks, Like,
Mhm.
it's very clear there's been a big transition in how humor on the internet works, at least in the English speaking world over the past, like, you
Mhm,
know,
mhm.
past 10 years versus the 10 years prior to that, where it was mostly just jokes.
I would
It wasn't
like to
really anything different than most of history.
I would at least like to point out the multiple, like the other just all the terrible shit that's happened post 2001. Like,
Yeah, but
as
there's
something
terrible stuff happening all throughout human history. I don't think 9/11 has anything to do with that.
I mean,
like, you
it's
could
like it's
see,
that the recession, the other financial crisis,
Yeah, but
the housing bubble.
there's been bigger recessions and financial crises throughout human history. That's not like there's been like famines and plagues and shit. Like, that's not new.
Okay, it doesn't mean it doesn't matter to these new generations.
I'm not saying it doesn't
though.
matter, but I'm saying
Yeah.
like that specific style of humor is at least being as
It's
prevalent as
recent.
it is more recent. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's more recent than that.
There
It's
is a
within the
parallel
last
though. Like, look at how Dadaism came about the first time. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true.
like I won't say that like things humor wise weren't affected by like all of those events. They definitely were, but I'm saying like that is definitely a last 10 years type of thing.
I associate ironic humor with the 90s.
The Gen X
so
sense of
shit
humor?
that with
Yeah, I
more
can see
gross
that.
The whole humor of sarcasm is that it's ambiguous, right? Like, you don't actually know if they're being serious or not, or if they are being sarcastic. And so when you have to explain it, it takes all the air out of the bite of sarcasm. So when you look at the glyphs like sparkles, it's denoting sarcasm without screaming, I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah, I mean, the tension of bookending something inherently not sparkly, not shiny, with sparkles, I mean, that's funny. So then how did it get to AI? Here's my thesis. We only have emoji because of Japan. And Japan's visual language has all of these visual affixes that we don't necessarily have a contextualized understanding for in other cultures. So when they got exported to Unicode, we got faced with all these icons that we don't really understand. And some of them we're probably never gonna understand because they're pretty much purely symbolic. But some of them, like I guess the sparkle emoji, we can reuse and add our own contextualized understanding on top. It's gone from digital glitter to irony and sarcasm, but its iconic meaning of shininess and sparkliness and look over here and a little bit of magic, I think that's exactly what these companies want you to think about it. And now I guess here we are. I still don't really know who was the first one to do this, but believe me, I'm gonna keep looking. But I figured it might be worth getting Mr. Kurita's perspective on this too.
いやでも結局のところ今のキラキラはすごく一つの答えだと思っていて、全く何のその新しいオリジナルのマークを例えば作っても
This is literally just
それ
reused
が流行れば
footage.
みんなそうだ
No,
と
this is
思うんですね。ただそれは全くオリジナルだとその流行るのに時間がかかる、だからそのみんなに浸透するのは時間がかかるので、例えば今のスパークリングのようなみんなが印象を持っていて、その印象が AI の印象に近いものを置き換えるっていうのが一番なんだろうな、クレバーな選択なんじゃないかなと思います。
And you know what? I guess if Mr. Kurita's cool with it, I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time I've got something to say. See ya.
Thank you. I was about to say it. Please dislike this video.
I don't know how you can dislike this video, but all right.
Okay, so to me, like, I think the core idea of the video is fine. I think the way it goes about it to get to the conclusion is all just very weak sauce. Even the conclusion just feels weak sauce. Everything, if anything, almost feels like every step is like trying to be intellectual while also trying to be pussyfooting.
Here one part of me
pussyfooting around
the structure. I did not necessarily like the structure of it because just kind of this one line.
Not
Let me get
shiny
to it.
with sparkles. I mean, that's funny. So then how did it get to AI? Here's my thesis.
Why is your thesis 27 minutes in a 29-minute video?
Yeah.
Video.
What?
It's an educational YouTube video that's
Yeah,
telling you
it should
about
be.
how we got to where we are.
Yes, but at least ball out a pet theory before you say that. You
Does
know?
it really matter though? Like, would it change the like overall like knowledge that
It
you
would help the structure of the video.
I really think you're
Like it's
fixating on something that doesn't really matter.
the presentation and organization of the ideas presented in the video.
I
Okay,
felt
so
that
I'll
there's-
put.
I don't know. I think
I
you're,
didn't.
like,
Okay, no. So here's the thing. Like, I can tell you this right now. Like, maybe it's just a thing of us being too much in academia per se, but like I can definitely say for sure that I feel like the whole thing capitulate way better if the thesis is actually, you know, at the
In
beginning
order?
of the friggin' video.
Yeah, like
'cause
if you
honestly, it feels like the intro paragraph is at the bottom of the paper, which feels weird.
Also, and also, you don't say thesis at the end of the video. You say conclusion. Right? Am I right?
Yes, you are right.
Thesis is here's my idea with no research. This is my bullshit. Right?
This is my claim.
This
Let me
is
see if
my
claim
initial
holds. Yeah.
idea. Here's my thesis, and then go explaining a conclusion. You are explaining a conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't think it matters for the purposes of the video. I don't think it really affects the overall conveyance of information in any meaningful way.
For me, it felt like he was dicking around for 27 minutes and then gave me an answer.
So,
Like-
do you think that if that bit had been edited to the beginning of the video, your entire attitude on the video would have changed?
Yes.
I mean,
That's
I
just
wouldn't say
weird to me.
I don't feel like my entire attitude would have changed, but I definitely feel like it definitely would have helped.
It would have
a decent
helped.
bit. Like, to me too, like the problem is just like it feels like there's chuff in this so much too.
It also feels like it also feels just kind of weird by like, let's talk about the history of emoji. Blah, 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 blah. And we don't start at the beginning. Like, I don't like the idea of working backwards for a historical piece.
Yeah, like
Because it feels like it feels bad because we don't have the context of the years beforehand, and then he fills in the holes with context from the years beforehand, and it just feels weird to me.
Yeah, I feel like the thing that makes it weird too is just like explaining the history would probably make much more sense, and it feels like, if anything, trying to like deconstruct it backwards from like here's like the Google Doc thing and here's all the different like ideas
I did
Unicode going. It's like it feels like almost like this weird reverse colonization strip down to get to like the actual like Japanese origins of the friggin' emojis.
Yeah, and
the actual
the order also made
a good chunk of the audience is not gonna know that origin. They just are like, emojis that thing that's on my phone.
Okay, no, but here's what I'm saying.
Understand where that came
But the video, okay, if we let's say if we reordered this video, right, and we talked about the origin of the emoji, wouldn't you think the process, the order of creation to implementation to where we are now is a good order to tell a story?
I would believe so
I don't
too,
think it's
especially-
a bad way, but I don't think you have to start with this is where it started and we're gonna advance forward in time. You can just as easy. It's not like he's hopping around randomly through history.
He's not hopping around randomly. He's hopping backwards, and that's, for me, it's weird because he's like, the first bit of
he's not hopping
information
around
is the first thing about because here's my understanding of the emoji story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before Unicode, a bunch of other languages had separate history.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I mean, a bunch of different languages had different encoding standards for their language. Like, the U.S. had ASCII, and then the Japanese used their own, and the Chinese used their own.
That's way too technical to matter for the purposes of the video. Like, you're saying there's chuff, but that's literal chuff.
But if he wants to do the chuff of the origin of the emoji,
that's not chuff. That's super relevant.
Okay, so to me,
Hold
like
on.
the problem is just like it feels like there's too much like emphasis placed on things. Like I don't hate the idea of like being like, hey, here's Google trying to compile it, but it's like it feels like that footnote is given way more credence than it needs to, and other parts that
But
should be given more credence are made into
that-
footnotes.
That is how emoji became relevant.
No, but
people in North America.
Yes, okay, but here's the thing.
but
It feels like a conflict of interest with the topic, because the problem is it's like, I think Alma and I want this to be an actual, like, well-presented historical, and the problem is, it feels more like a casual take on a historical, where, like, the way it's structured almost feels pandered more to the general audience of the creator, rather than to the actual topic at hand. Like, I don't feel like there's any necessitated need to start off...
It's a YouTube video, not a museum piece or like a documentary.
Hey, do you want to watch a YouTube video that has the same information but better storytelling?
Maybe another week. Much as I love doing Finding Out Friday, I am hot and sweaty and tired.
I mean, like, do you just want to watch the Tom Scott video?
No, I mean, like, I'm probably gonna go to bed.
Oh no.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm a
Time to help people catch the...
Oh no, that's an ad. We need to watch this now. Hold up. I know it's the... Hold on. Well,
Emoji only network?
yeah, Emojily.
Fine, I'll watch the
Sounds
emoji
awful.
only network.
No, I mean, not it's it was this one. The accidental emoji expert. This one.
Sure, I'll watch it and then I'll go.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're
It's a
fine.
great pleasure that I bring into the stage both a friend of mine and famously that guy from the internet. He's wearing a slightly off red shirt. Can you please put your hands together? Welcome to the stage. It's Tom Scott.
Great, black clicker, black table, it's wonderful. Hello, my name is Tom Scott. Hello. Hello. Wonderful, you're alive. I am an accidental emoji expert. I didn't mean to. Also, sorry, let's get one thing out of the way. This is going to be less of a polished talk than I normally do. There are two reasons for that. One, I didn't quite rehearse as much as I should. And two, I hate shtick. I hate the idea that you become that person known for that thing. And yet, I've had plenty of shticks in my time. I had the pirate shtick, that was a bad year. And now I have the emoji shtick. And I didn't mean to. But me and a friend came up with an idea. We built a messenger on your phone that you could only send emoji through. Even your username had to be emoji. And we got 70,000 people signing up to that because they all went, what? I've got to get an emoji as my username. What do I do? What do I do? And like, it turns out you can be rude in emoji, really creative. We thought we wouldn't have to put a swear filter on that. Yeah, we did. Lot of aubergines. We killed that after just under a year, but then I went and made this, which is a full-size emoji keyboard. I say full-size, it's 14 keyboards. So there are a lot of emoji, all hooked up. But as a result of that, it turns out that I now know the technical details, and most of the technical details of how emoji works. Also turns out that I am now an expert on emoji to the extent that Radio 2 called me up and said, can you bring your keyboard in? I thought, radio, keyboard. And literally there was a moment where I was like, could you, what does it sound like to type on it? Sounds like a keyboard. So I'm an accidental and grumpy emoji expert. These are the first emoji. These are the first ones that were ever made. I think they've been coloured here, which weren't normally, but one engineer in Japan decided that they had a bit, because computers, which is all the detail you get in a 10-minute talk, there was a bit of room.
Because computers.
So there's the idea of text encoding, which is where you take the letters that we write in and you turn them into ones and zeros that computers can understand. America kind of did that first, or at least did the big worldwide version of that. So that's great, you have A to Z, 0 to 9, doesn't take up that much room. Japan, loads more characters, need a bit more room, and because computers, they had a bit of space left over. So one engineer goes, you know what, we can put pictures in there, because we're basically, we're sending a lot of
good night,
pictures
bros.
from each
Have a good
Let's
evening.
have some more. So those are the first emojis, some transports, some star signs, some numbers, and they're just used on one mobile network. And then the next mobile network went, that is a brilliant idea, we're having that. Only they produced a completely different and incompatible system, and then a third network did the same. And this was fine, because they didn't work together. And then, along came the Unicode Consortium, which does sound like a sci-fi baddie, but they're actually the the linguists and computer scientists in charge of making sure that everyone can talk to each other online. The
Unicorn.
reason someone in Japan can send you a text in Japanese and it will now arrive on your phone intact is because of these guys.
Hi, Cass.
The most amazing thing in computer standardization that's ever been done. They went to France. They looked at France. They said, "You're mostly like English. That's fine. You got a little bit of a weird letter there. That's fine. We can take France. We're going to take your letters and put them just there in the standards. You okay? You're cool. All right." They went to Russia. Russian and all that. So, "Oh, you've got a whole different alphabet." "All right, that's fine. We're going to take your alphabet." Oh, sorry, Belarus, you've got some more letters. Okay, we're going to take all those, and we're going to put them just there. And then they got to Japan and went, "Bloody hell." "Right, Japan, okay, that's fine. You've got all of these, but okay, right, that's fine. We're gonna put them in the standard. Japan, what are those?" And Japan's like, "They're emoji. We use them to talk. Those aren't letters. Don't care. We use them to communicate. They're characters. You've got to include them. You know, two-way. What do you think? We let America have the smiley face, didn't we? Right, fine, Japan. We're going to take those, we're going to put them in there, and no one is going to care. And no one did care, and then Apple came along. And Apple wanted to sell iPhones in Japan, so they put an emoji keyboard on there, and no one noticed for a little while, and then one person in in America went, "I can send piles of poo to my friends." So they did, and their friends went, How'd you do that? Show me. And suddenly there was this ready-made viral explosion of piles of poo, which is actually, I guess, is dysentery. But, and now we have emoji cushions and emoji pillows. That's a photo by my friend Dan, who walked around Dalston, found emoji pillows, and then found another shop selling emoji. It turns out there's a lot of emoji pillows in Dalston. They wants one. This is the Unicode Consortium's motto. It is enabling people around the world to use computers in any language. This is how the world sees the Emoji Consortium. This is how the world sees the Unicode Consortium's motto.
Emoji, lol.
Unicode 9's out soon, and this is how I see them as from the world. It's like, hey, well, Unicode 9 is out now, and it's amazing. It's got the Osage alphabet in it. This is an alphabet that was only designed a few years ago. This is amazing. It's got the Georgian lari symbol, brand new currency symbol. It's in there. They've sat down in committee meetings and had really vicious fights between different representatives from different countries about how particular languages should go in, because it's actually really complicated. And the world went, okay. By the way, they say, we've got some new emoji too, and suddenly we care. Does anyone know what this emoji is? Does anyone know what this emoji is, by the way? Is that me? Yeah, that's close. Seriously, quick share out. Triumph! Yes, who was up there first? There was a measuring tape going for all right, so this is worrying. This might not work. Let's see if we can. Missed by a mile. Wonderful. I did not do well at sports. Yeah, it's look of triumph, which no one actually uses it for because it was designed in Japan, and that's a different cultural reference.
You know what that one was? Triumph. I use it all the time too. It's like if you do a hard task and you're satisfied with it, you kind of give out that anime is like you do that big story. It's like, when you're done,
Yeah.
that's triumph.
I guess.
Which is great. So, the 2016 emoji are out soon. Here are some of them. This is from Emojipedia, which is a thing. They allow reuse of this with credit. These are some of what we've got. So this is about half the candidates. We've got nauseated face. Let's be honest, that's overdue. That was meant to be. We've got duck. Obviously, that's vital.
Duck.
We don't have duck face, which feels like it should be in there. We do have selfie, so you can put that next to any emoji now. Just put that on it. We also have Dancing Man. I'll get back to him in a minute. They're going to get ratified, probably in a meeting in May 2016. They'll be on your phone by the end of the year. Probably. Maybe.
I'm glad some of those did not get in
But what's
there.
interesting for me, at least, the 2017 emoji. So we've got a few candidates for that now. We might have Chinese takeout box and skeptical face with one eyebrow raised. That's not the interesting thing, because recently we've had these. We've had skin tone.
Yeah, skin tone modifiers.
Now, these are really important. These are fantastic because it means it's not all default yellow. As anyone who's watched The Simpsons knows, yellow is not default neutral. But if you want to actually make one of these, behind the scenes, you're putting the regular emoji in, and then you're putting what is called a skin tone modifier, or a tag character. From 1 to 5 on the Fitzpatrick scale, which is a skin tone scale. So there's actually 2 separate characters there and they merge together. The 2017 emojis are going to get more tags. If proposal, I said this is a lot of detail, if proposal TR52 gets ratified next year. And the tag characters that get added are for gender, hair colour, and possibly direction. Direction's easy, it's so that everyone agrees which way the gun is pointing when you do an emoji that someone shot someone. It's good for, like...
Kind of interesting listening to these now, how some of these actually did not pass.
It's going to be black, brown...
Knowing that we're in Unicode
blonde,
15.
And one that I've forgotten. Who have I missed? No? Bald! That's it, no hair at all. I know
The hair also, I don't think, got ratified in there.
to that. If you have an issue with that, please take it up with the Unicode Consortium, which is taken, I swear, from the list of hair colours that are valid for US driver's licenses and the UN ground pass. I looked at the specification, that's where they got the list from. So you will be able to have a different skin colour, different hair colour, and crucially, different gender presentation. Because on the left is how Apple says dancer. And on the right is how Android said dancer until recently. So if you were a woman, you said, I'm feeling like this today, it did not go well when it came through to an Android user.
Crazy
So
how the
there's
Unicode
a separate
meant to
woman
combine
dancer,
everything.
man dancer, but
Has
everything else,
differences.
The idea is you have a character and then a gender symbol, which is great because currently the Unicode construction worker is male and the Unicode receptionist is female because apparently it's the 1980s.
Yeesh.
And if you think this is ridiculous, this is my final point. If you think this is ridiculous, if you think this is too much, this is something that no one should care about, this is just a lot of wrangling over a minor detail. Yes, it sort of is. And that boardroom meeting will have a lot of things to decide about it. But if you think this is not something you care about, just imagine how the people in that board meeting feel. Because they've got a long list. I've seen the agenda for the last meeting, I read it. It's got all sorts of really wonderful things. Some of the best linguists, some of the best computer scientists, some of the best computational linguists are going to be in that room deciding really important things about language and how we're going to use it. And the only thing that the press are going to care about in 2017 is whether there is going to be a condom emoji. My name's Tom Scott. Enjoy the night.
There's unfortunately no condom emoji. I hope.
All for the better, honestly.
Thank goodness, no. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little pissant about it.
I mean, to be fair, like, it feels like that's way more concise. I mean, obviously they serve different purposes too, because this feels like, you know, sort of like a stand-up / convention center portrayal of it. But even then, it's just like, I feel like the thing that helps it too is like, sometimes you just get this thing where, like, if your presenter has all the personality of, like, cornflakes, you're not going to care. And the problem is, like, I think the other dude just had all the personality of cornflakes as well.
Unfortunate.
I feel like these are two very different videos with very different purposes.
But when we'll still
different information they're trying to
character
convey.
system. Tokipona character system will be added to Unicode. Let's find out. Tokipona.
Alright, you have fun with that. I'm gonna go bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, what do you know? Someone drafted a proposal. Jenny! Jenny! Hello! Hello! Welcome, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome. Come in. There's seats for everybody. My name is Alma Hexblade, Head Guild Master Chief Barista. Very small today. And we were doing a bunch of Finding Out Friday stuff. Thank you, Jenny. What were you playing? Pacific Drive? Ooh, how was the game? What are we finding out today? I was on like a good rant about like emojis, but let's get back. It's car SCPs. Oh my gosh. Let's get back. We were going to do another one. Let's see here. Ooh, oh, you know what? Let's find, okay, I actually have a good one on here, and I think it's very silly. It's very entertaining. So here we go. It's, this one's provided by Sister Rose, who unfortunately went to sleep recently. But It is somebody who made a Game Boy that runs using a CRT.
May cause mortal damage.
Oopsie. Oopsie. I love this video. I think it's funny. It's also just torturous and kind of horrifying in like a cool way. But this is kind of the last video for tonight, so if you guys just want to chill out or if you want to head out, no problem with me. Just make sure you have a nice rest of your day and drink water and, you know, sleep. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, let's get started with this one. This one I think is just stupid and funny. Have you seen this one, Brandon?
Yes.
Okay.
But I am down to rewatch.
I want to watch it again.
Voltage may cause mortal damage. So the Game Boy screen's not great. It's got no backlight and it's got a lot of motion blur. And that's why people are upgrading to modern LCDs nowadays. But what if we could do something a little more period? This kind of looks like a Game Boy, right? I found this thing on AliExpress. This is a CRT display out of a video intercom. It's actually brand new. It's never been used, although it was not made recently. Before plasmas and modern LCDs and stuff took off in the mid-thousands, CRT was king. A CRT is essentially a vacuum tube that shoots electrons at a layer of phosphors to make them glow the right amounts that you want. This particular layout is pretty weird. Normally the electrons fire at the back of the phosphors and you see the picture on the front of the phosphors. Whereas this one you're looking at the back of the phosphors through this glass and the electrons get steered down at it. But anyway, should we try and fit this into this?
Magnets.
Think it could work. Screws out. And what do we got? All right.
Rest in peace for this poor
Been a
Game
long
Boy
time
who's
since I've
never going to
been
be the
inside a
same
Game Boy.
again.
Separate those two bits. Motherboard out. So here's what's in a Game Boy. This is the motherboard. This is where everything happens. This barely has any electronics on it at all. This board's basically a controller with the display and speaker attached, and then they just wire straight to this board. And even the motherboard itself is fairly simple. We've got the CPU here, which has a lot in common with the Z80. We've got 8 kilobytes of work RAM, 8 kilobytes of video RAM, and an audio amplifier. And that's it for the chips on here. Everything else is just accompanying componentry. I do have one big problem though, and that's that this LCD has absolutely nothing in common with an old TV, and this takes the same video format as an old TV. And sadly, the easiest way I found to overcome this was to buy a modern LCD conversion for the Game Boy, which included TV output. So I guess we're gonna learn to install that as well as connect to a CRT.
It has
I do
another
like
shell.
that it came with an aftermarket shell though, because this one looks trash. Nice Pedito, something. That's all the electronics for it. And look at this. This is an actual replacement front PCB. This replaces this entire thing. This is just a generic LCD, which they've turned on vertical. Installation of this kit looks fairly straightforward. Ribbon in there. We do have to remove the speaker from the other front PCB. That solders onto here. Other end of
Also,
this ribbon
I
goes
feel like
into
I
this
should say this and not
brown ribbon
mention,
very
or
fragile, so I'm actually going to
I feel like I should say this, but it goes without saying, please be careful with electronics, especially with CRTs. Those could, like, kill you.
Flap that clamps the ribbon in. Yeah, let's
It's not a good time.
I'm licking the CRT tube and you can't stop.
You can lick the CRT tube, it's fine. You just can't, like...
No, I'm taking the back off and then I'm licking the CRT.
No, don't. Does it taste different?
Doesn't look very good.
It tastes like smoke.
I can see why. Because I'm very silly. That's why. And hopefully I didn't kill anything just now. I didn't pay enough attention to what was going on. And I've actually plugged this in upside down. Oh dear. This is not a good start. Power on. Oh, that is a good start.
Yay!
That's awesome. But we're not going to use that screen.
You're good until you start tasting metal. Correct.
Oh dear. There's options
I
here
think.
somewhere. How do I
like metal.
do the options?
I like
I
metal.
use a metal
OSD.
coffee filter.
So,
You gotta get all that good metal taste in there.
on.
Yes.
Oh dear, it's gone. There is something I'm worried about, and that is that every time I turn it on, I might have to choose TV mode again, and let's just find out if that's true. Yeah, that is most unfortunate. I'm gonna have to include this LCD somewhere just so that we can choose TV mode. Unless I can figure out a better way of doing it. Now let's see if we can get this guy working at all. It's supposed to run off 12 volts, but we've only got 6 volts in the Game Boy. This is a buck converter, which should be able to supply us 12 volts from 6 volts. This connection here is connected straight to the battery terminal when the power's on. So we're going to use that for our 6 volt feed, and straight off the negative battery terminal for ground or negative. Now what should happen is with this all turned on, where's the power switch?
The gore has only just begun.
Get 12 volts across here. And there we go, 12 volts. So this should power this CRT if it has enough current capability. We'll find that out when we try it. This CRT came with no information whatsoever, and it's got all these wires. After a heap of research, I did manage to find this diagram, which is a bit blurry, but it'll suffice. And it turns out this whole bunch of wires here is just for the brightness and contrast controls. You need to supply your own potentiometers for that. I managed to find these two in my junk. They're the right values. This one has had engine oil leaked into it, but it seems to measure up okay, so we'll give that a chance. They are huge, but it's all I've got. This other connector down here is for power.
This one has
video,
engine
and the
oil
middle
in
two
it.
are just
I'm okay,
ground,
though.
because video needs ground as well as power needs ground, but they're connected together on the board. Well, that smells like burning engine oil. And two
burning.
done. Now, normally this LCD conversion kit wires to the link port on the Game Boy so that you can use that as an AV port. I don't like that idea too much because it means you can't link when it's connected to a TV, but I guess you don't have to cut the case, so I don't know. Kind of good, kind of bad. Right down here, there's two tiny little circles, which are the AV output pins. Well, it's not really AV, it's just the video output. We've got ground and video. So these are going to connect
Too
to
much
my
coffee.
CRT instead of the link port. Then the power wires
shaky
go onto the
hand.
buck converter. Now we got to see if it works. Everything's connected back up again, and hopefully when I turn this on, something happens. I mean, to begin with, it'll just come up on here, but this might light up white. That's kind of what I want. Oh, it lit up! So it's powering it. Well, let's see what happens if we change to CRT mode. Oh, it's doing a thing. Okay, hold on. There's adjustments for that. This thing's set up for PAL video.
It's
and
doing
I
a
need to change
thing.
it to NTSC. Which one is it? Which one is it? We've got H size, focus. V hold is over here. This guy should fix it. Oh, this screwdriver's too small. Oh, this screwdriver's too big. Come on. Hey, we got a stable picture. Look at that. We got a stable picture. These things
So
should,
crunchy looking.
do not very much. What about this one? So we don't have a contrast.
I don't like
control.
soldering.
That
My main
doesn't work
experience is soldering
because
32
my
key switches onto a
potentiometer is
mechanical
full of
keyboard.
engine oil. But I see the picture. I'm happy. I'm good. That's
Soldering
good.
is
Bit of
hard.
adjustment.
It does get better with
looking
practice and also use a lot of
interference
flux.
here. These buck converters are actually pretty garbage. So that's generating a lot of
As
noise.
someone who's made, I think, how many keyboards have I made now? Like 1, 2. I think it's 2. As somebody who's made 2 soldered keyboards together, it's a practice thing, and also like a lot of flux is also involved. It makes things a lot more easy.
Noise.
When are you
electrical
making
noise.
me a
You can hear the noise through the
Do you want
speaker
one?
too. Might be the buck converter, might be the CRT. I don't know. We'll just
SOT.
leave it like that though. Sounds like a
If you
Vectrex.
pay
Those are
pay
cool.
me
I've
like
decided I'm determined to
$30,
get
I
this
can
thing to
like
boot
make
straight
one.
to the CRT. I don't want to use this LCD.
That seems
at all.
low,
It's going to be
but-
super annoying.
Okay,
So I've been
$60
researching this stuff on this
$60
This
minus
chip here is
caps.
a TV encoder chip. It takes
Okay,
digital
that makes a
video
little
and
more
outputs
sense.
analog
I'm
video,
good.
which is what this
Okay.
uses. I searched and searched and searched. All I could find was a product description. I really needed to know what all the connections were for this.
It
and
says, I
could
need to
not find
go
them
over and
online. So
help
I
you
just had to
build
go
your
around and measure every
stinking,
single one with my oscilloscope and see if anything changes.
3D
I could
printer.
build a
between the
3D
LCD
printer
and the
if I
CRT.
wanted to.
Eventually I came
You
to the
haven't
very
yet, but
end
have
here,
you?
which
It's
is
still
very
in the
hard to see on
box.
camera, but it's there, I promise.
It's actually not in the
currently
box,
at 0
but
volts,
I've
which is
been
where that line is at the
procrastinating.
moment. But then,
And
if
then you told me
I
you wanted to help me
change
build
over
it.
to TV
And so I
mode,
said
all
okay,
of a
so
sudden
I
it jumps up to 5
procrastinated
volts.
even
So
further.
there's a chance that this pin
So
alone
it's just
might be
in
able to make this
pieces
thing
on
boot
the
straight to
ground.
CRT. So I'm going to very
No,
carefully
it's
desolder this pin,
there.
lift it up,
It's
and see
set
what
aside
happens.
in a
Well,
spot
here
where it's
goes.
all the parts are together.
No. Does TV mode still work?
Yeah,
No.
okay,
So
sure.
all I've achieved there is making the
It's
CRT
inside
not
an
work
open
at all
box
ever.
that is
Okay,
not the
new
box
plan.
it came in.
I've decided to make something that will electronically press this button down for 3 seconds, click down twice, press enter again, click up once, and then press enter again. Every single time this thing turns on. And the best way I can think of to do that is using a microcontroller, an Arduino or something like that. Except I have no
An
programming
Arduino.
knowledge whatsoever. But luckily I know people. So I sent a list of all of the microcontrollers that I've got to a
I
friend
only
of
have
mine,
3.
and we decided on this guy. This is actually a Wi-Fi development board, but we're not going to use the Wi-Fi. It's just going to sit there and do nothing. He wrote me a program based on what I wanted. So all I had to do was send it to the board, and now we're going to wire it up and hopefully it works. Now this has a bunch of pins on the bottom. I don't need those, so I'm going to get rid of them. So I've got all the signals and the ground wire connected up. I need to find somewhere to connect the power wire to. Ideally, this thing would like 5 or 6 volts. That would be good. Just going to have a look at what powers this power light. If I measure straight across this LED, I get 1.75 volts. That's fine for the LED, but it's no good for this board. But if I go a couple of steps back, we find out that these components here are what are stepping down that voltage. So I can go to here and I get 5.66. That's fine. That's straight off the battery, I reckon. Now, just maybe this will work. There's a 50-50 chance that it's going to be clicking that.
Also,
wheel at one
Cass, I would
direction,
recommend
and this is not going to work.
a hot
but
swap.
Hopefully,
A hot swap,
even if the menu comes up, that'll be great.
board.
Yeah, get a hot swap board.
Or just.
Or if you want to
something
hot
that
swap
doesn't
this,
work at all.
a hot
That's
swap add the hot swap
Right,
to
but
the
if we
board,
go
then
all
God
the
help
way
you.
back
But
in
yeah,
time and put this screen back on,
I like
then
making
what
keyboards.
happens? I am worried. This board here takes the battery voltage, whatever that is, it can be anything from about 2 volts up to 6 volts, and converts it to 5 volts for the logic board and minus 19 volts for the old LCD. Thankfully, the schematic for the Game Boy is available online, so I managed to figure out that this power board is not outputting the 5 volts that it's supposed to. I don't know why that's decided to die on me, or even if it's a problem with the motherboard still and it's just pulling this down. I'm just going to wire a jumper across it at the moment. We won't have any voltage regulation, but I'm using my benchtop power supply, so I can just set the 5 volts manually for now. The minus 19 volts isn't required because we're using a
Let's just artificially power this through my bench, powering a Game Boy with my bench power
The
supply.
game gonna boot. Ooh, something smells hot. It's not good. I don't want hot smells.
Smell hot.
Ow! Okay, think we're in for bad times. The part that's getting warm is the CPU. It's an important thing that should not be getting warm. My power supply still says no now. That CPU is dead, and that's really, really disappointing.
Womp,
yeah,
womp, womp.
yeah, the CPU is dead. Dead CPU. Well, even with no CPU, I can test whether the OCD thing's happening and all of that. Yeah, so I've got no image, obviously, because the CPU's not running, so the whole thing's not running. And this power board works now, so it wasn't the power board that was at fault. The CPU has fried. Seems like the Arduino didn't work either, so that's great. Well, after a whole bunch of back and forth with my programmer friend, and me figuring out exactly what one notch on this wheel does, watch this.
Oh.
Still garbled because we've got no CPU. Yeah, look at that. It switches
Yay.
to the CRT without me touching anything. All right, now on to the biggest problem.
Microcontroller
we've got,
done.
This guy here. I do have a whole bunch of Game Boys for spare parts, but not a single one of them has a motherboard. None of the complete Game Boys I have are ones that I want to take a CPU from. And that's where this guy comes in. Now, before you get all upset, because this is a really nice one, I'm not getting rid of this one for good. I'm just going to borrow the CPU. I've got a really nasty condition one on its way from my friend Osti at King Kaiju Collectibles. Once that arrives, I'll take the CPU from that and put it back in to
A
make
Super
this one a
Game
nice
Boy.
one again. But what even is this? This isn't a Game Boy.
I need to get a Super
This
Game
is a
Boy.
Super Game
It's
Boy.
just-
say,
This
despite the
connects
fact
to
I
a
never
Super
use it.
Nintendo, so you can plug.
It's
your Game
just
Boy
a Game
games in the
Boy.
top, and then you get to
I
play
know
your
it
Game
is,
Boy
but I
games
don't
on the
want a
TV,
Game
or in
Boy. I
this
want a
case,
Super
on a
Game
terrible
Boy.
reversing camera LCD. Inside the Super Game Boy is this SGB CPU. It's nearly the same as the DMG CPU that's inside a Game Boy. It does do some stuff that the original Game Boy won't use, but it can solder straight onto the motherboard and it'll work
got, like,
flawlessly,
some special
except you miss
color
out on the
options.
Nintendo
It's
boot
weird.
screen, which does speed up boot, which is good.
Yeah, it
I
also
like that clean
it also
I just don't have a choice now.
skips
Either
the
keep soldering, you
Nintendo
want lots
boot
of
screen, which is
flux,
kind of
and a
neat.
bit of hot air, and we'll see if we can lift this straight off. Whoa, that came off very quickly. Yeah, we cook it down.
I kind of want to mod. I kind of wish I could
I
mod
get my
this
microscope out
like
and realize that half of the pins aren't
intense.
actually connected, and it's time to solder those all down by hand.
Eventually.
This could be the first time.
Eventually, I'll be able to be good enough to
Probably
do
should
this.
get a
And switching to the CRT,
What?
the game will start running before
Get a
it
garage
gets to CRT.
so you have
Hopefully that's
space.
okay.
No.
Please,
If I start a fire in my own house, that's my own fault.
Yes, that's so good. Oh man, I was so
That's
worried
not
when
great.
that CPU stopped working, but I've just saved
It's not
it.
great
All
to
right,
say.
We got to do some assembly. Oh, actually, there's one more thing. I need to know if this board actually boots without having this LCD connected. Ready? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Okay, that's so good. Well, I want it to look something like this. So first we're going to have to do some careful modifications.
All right, gore time. Yeah. Oh
Game Boys are a dime a dozen, in fairness.
man. Yeah, it's just like I'm gonna take an angle grinder and just go for it.
So that might be a
Screen,
third-party
except
cover.
for kind of a little bit.
Oh, it
too,
is.
Is that this
Oh,
board
then-
goes in here somewhere?
It's
and
just
that's
like,
gonna cover the
you know.
screen too. However, there's stuff on there that I need, so I guess I'll just be careful.
Game Boy open heart
things I'm
surgery.
gonna
Love
have
to see it.
reconnect
Yeah.
but That's okay. A few
Honestly,
choices to
well,
uncover
no,
something
it's
solid
not
to them.
just open heart
What's the rainbow
surgery.
wire
It's
this
open
time?
heart
There we go.
surgery and
Now we
currently
can put the
also a
control parts
lobotomy.
together. D-pad.
And now we're going into Frankenstein style plastic surgery.
Stick it in. I think that was probably glued in originally. How about if I just misalign the keyway? That should make it nice and sturdy in there, I think. Yeah, there we go.
Oh boy, Caleb,
So
that
now
cracking
we've got our
noise.
little Game Boy controller. Now, is it going to fit on here? There's quite a large gap there. It's modification.
No! Oh, he's using the old Game Boy one too. It's not even really cutting it, is it? It's just rubbing it so hard that it just has the plastic
Port off the back of the CRT just so that I can sneak these wires through. After that, I'll put it back on again. I don't want these wires to touch this heatsink, so I'm just going to jam them through this A button, and that'll keep them safe. Oh, we can attach this now. A little bit of hot glue.
This is truly the most engineering thing we've seen today.
Exposed.
Oh my
Now that I've
god.
attached that
Look at
together,
sideways.
I probably need to throw the screw somewhere. Would have been much easier beforehand. Ooh.
You know, who needs soldering and like
excellent. It's not really where I wanted it,
printers when you just have
that'll
hot
be
glue.
okay. Now that's just
Honestly, really, hot glue is the ultimate connector.
the wiring.
Just hope you never have to take it
I'm going to
apart
use one of
ever.
these for a start. I'll put the motherboard where it's supposed
Just
to be.
yeah, no, it's for this is just like, you know,
I want to run this off
pretend you're a manufacturing company in Taiwan and just dump hot glue on every single thing to make sure it doesn't fall out.
Ooh, I just saw a spark then. Nothing's connected to power though. Must have been a capacitor somewhere. Hopefully that's not what killed the CPU last
Dangerous.
time. Just horribly tacking this back onto the other side because I can't be bothered clearing out the holes and doing it properly. Now we can come back here. Stop running away.
Oh man,
Stuff this board back.
that's gore.
Well, the video board
That's
seems
gore
like
of
it
my
wants to go here,
favorite comfort
so
console.
It's glued there now. And this
This
board
is your
wants to
comfort
be
console?
here.
No, it's not. Mine is the mine is the GBA.
Yeah, when we push this down, I think. Oh no!
I just wanted to do the meme.
The
I
GBA
did a
I can
mistake.
respect
I glued
a
this
little
board
more.
down, and I haven't attached these wires to it yet.
The GBA is my comfort console.
I had the foresight to take photos.
I
of
just
the
have
picture
Tetris on it.
before I cut it up, and I'm
Non-handheld
so happy that I did because it means that I can find most of these places from and not have to get to the other side of the board. The last one is the speaker.
Wii U.
And I hope I can still take this board out. So using this
Mainly because it had
3 on this audio amplifier,
Pikmin 3 and Mario Kart
There's a
8.
little through hole
You
here,
can play
which I
both of
connect
those on the
to, which
Switch.
gives me better access
I know
to trying
that.
to solder to one of those tiny pins.
You can play
That's
better
it.
versions of
That
both
should
of
be
those
the
games
wiring
on
done.
I
Just need to
know
figure out
more
where these things are
content.
gonna sit.
I know that.
Some
I
more
just haven't
space,
decided to
more
get them
space,
yet.
More space.
It's more about the story of getting them
Yeah,
than
which hurt
anything.
heaps, of course, being hair.
I thought you had
and not
Mario
having
Kart
nerves.
8.
No, no, no.
Ooh, I think
No,
I found
no. The
space.
funny
Hot
bit is
glue
that
for you.
at some point I
You're a
went
bit
to
worried about
let me
using hot
let me
glue.
explain the small story. When I what was it? I think it was something silly like basically I don't remember what new game came out, but a game came out. I think it was probably Smash. I think it was actually I think I know it was Smash. Smash was coming out, and GameStop had a deal where you could get if you traded in a game, or no, my bad. Smash had a deal where if you bought, I think it was a copy of the Pokemon game that came out, which was Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire at the time, and Smash, you would also get a code for a downloadable game, and one of those games was Pikmin 3. I already had a copy of Pikmin 3, so what I did was I traded in the copy of Pikmin 3 to GameStop, bought the games that I wanted, which also came with a download code for Pikmin 3, so I basically just got a discount and just exchanged one of my games for a digital copy and nothing, and I didn't lose anything.
I wonder how well that deal worked out for them, considering Smash for Wii U is the worst selling Smash Brothers game in the history of the franchise.
I mean, I don't know, but hey, I got my Pikmin 3 and I never dealt with it. Maybe I should play it. I mean, now that I have a Switch, maybe I should play it. But, you know, maybe if it's a sale or something. I don't know. I haven't bought it, so.
For this guy, because
I'd say Pikmin is
warm, and it might be hot
real
glue
quick.
itself.
Pikmin
So
3 is
I'm
closer
just
to
gonna use
Pikmin 1
double-sided
in,
tape
in terms
instead.
of it being timed
Probably
and
gonna
everything,
still
and
lose
Pikmin
its
4
stick
is
with
more
heat,
like Pikmin
but
2 in the
at
sense
least
of
I
you just do
tried.
whatever.
Kind of. Maybe you can have some.
Okay, might get Pikmin 4 then.
So I've got a slight.
I don't like
Pikmin 4
is
on this side
amazing,
too.
and I
Wonder if
highly
can just
recommend
carve
it to
out the
anyone
other
with a
half casing
Switch.
like I did before.
Okay. The time requirements of 3, the time requirements always made me stressed, which is
There's
why I
lots of
didn't
hopefullys in my videos.
play
I like being hopeful.
it as much.
A little bit more trimming
I
is
like-
required, maybe.
I like Pikmin
Cut
1
out
the
for
same way I
headphones.
like
I don't know where
Majora's
these
Mask.
are going to go. I didn't even think of that
But
until right now.
or
Are they going to fit in
Dead
here somewhere?
Rising.
I don't
But
even
I
know.
understand
Here we go. This is looking like a thing.
why people
that'll,
might not.
That'll sit there.
This is
This'll sit over
so
here. Maybe that can hide up
ergonomic.
here. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
spot back up there.
Oh.
If
Before
you're
I
a
do
gorilla.
the final assembly, I want to see if it still works. I think that's important. This is the first
Before
time
we're
we've run
done,
this on
let's find out
batteries,
if it
so
still
I'm not
works.
certain that it'll work. I'm just really hoping. On.
That
Oh,
crackling
that's
noise is
not
bad.
great, I'll be honest. I'll see if the batteries just aren't strong enough.
Oh.
Hey, see if Energizer Max Plus is better. Oh, oh. Yay!
It
Turning
works!
off batteries. Well, let's turn that off before I use up my whole 1/2 of 20 minutes. It's assembly time. For some reason the AC adapter plug doesn't really line up. Might be because I don't have any screws in the motherboard. Just a suspicion that I've got.
It's
Connector here, which
glue.
may fit. Yep, so I'm gonna just leave that in there while I glue it together.
You're just gonna-
And it should be fine, right? Gluing in the motherboard.
Just keep that in
gluing
raw.
in the everything. Glue, 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 glue. Ouch, ouch, ouch.
Hot
gluing
glue.
myself seems to happen every time. Don't want to hot glue
Truly
the
a
bottom.
creator's
Ow, ow,
friend.
ow, ow. Okay, I've hot glued myself a lot. This is enough for this video, alright? That's the last hot gluing myself. No more hot gluing myself this video. Ah, I've blocked up the headphone. Again. Ooh, I do need to check that the controls work. Looking good. Start works. I can duck, that's good. I can't really test up, but if all the others work, then it means that it's probably fine. Yeah, every button works. It's kind of fun playing a Game Boy with an external controller. I should really shorten these wires, but I'm hoping I can just jam them down in here instead, because that'll be easier. And a bit of hot glue.
More hot
I
glue!
actually did manage to fix the part with the engine oil in it.
It's so
All I had to do
jank.
was crimp one of the terminals a bit better. So we're keeping that in there. Now I've still got this mortally dangerous box sticking out the corner here. I really need to cover it with something. I
More
reckon this will probably do it. Ooh, I need to go even closer, I reckon. Yeah. Excellent.
This is
more
now
mortal
safe.
danger. Well, probably. Got a few stringy bits to pull off before I'm happy with it.
Would
Look
you
at
be
this
Would you be
masterpiece.
trusted with this?
How good is
Do you
that?
think this
It
is
is
safe?
a little bit of a handful. I'll give you that.
This looks
but
like the
how
thing I
good
put
is
at
it?
B-side
Wait a
on
minute.
Dust
You
2.
gotta have this on there.
You know what I mean.
Except
Yeah, I
it's
know
not
what you
Matrix
mean.
anymore. It says CRT. Yeah. We'll put the bottom one
The
on first,
detailing
shall
is
we?
the most important
That's how you
part
know
here.
it's Game Boy.
It's an
Look, this
IED.
actually kind of looks better. That's amazing.
I feel like
Screen's
someone
got
could
a
mod
little
this
bit
to be
to it,
like the
but,
bomb in
it's
Counter-Strike.
actually better than the dot matrix display. And most of that interference we saw before doesn't even seem to be there anymore. I wonder how long the battery lasts for. I'm hoping I can at least finish a couple of levels. That would be excellent. This is actually going okay. I kind of expected this to only last a minute or so and then switch off. But it's actually, I mean, I'm on level 2. Oh, there it goes. Now it's boot looping.
Battery life, 2 minutes, 5 seconds.
So the battery life isn't very long. Well, I'm glad I left that AC adapter input because 4 batteries is not enough for this thing to run. They're actually kind of warm too. And they are good ones. They're expensive.
It also got some powerful doohickey energy. You're right. This also is kind of
It
doohickey.
actually looks better than the original dot matrix screen, and you can play in the dark. And it looks even better in the dark, actually. Look at that. It's got at least a couple of minutes of battery power, and if you've got really big pockets, you might even be able to put it in one.
It's the
It even
size
has
of-
a constant buzzing noise through the speaker.
It's
regardless
the
of
size of like
volume's up
4
there.
Game
It
Boys.
has so many features. All right, so there's tons of reasons why nobody made any handheld game consoles with CRTs in them back in the day, but I just did, and I love it, even if
It's
it's
heavy and expensive.
quite a bit crap. So I've been collecting video
So
games forever, and
chunky.
I'm still buying stuff.
I
all
love
the
it.
time. If you want to see everything that I get, I post a photo on Floatplane. It's only $1 a month, and I'll see you there. Links in the description.
All right. Cat. Okay. I think that's all for today, so let's head out. I still got to stream tomorrow, you know?
Oh yeah, what are you streaming tomorrow?
I'm like trying to figure out what to stream tomorrow. Like, so for real, like real quick, like
I thought
real.
you were gonna do Hades.
That's the thing. I was going to do Hades, and then Valve announced that Deadlock was able to be streamed now, so I thought I was gonna try that.
Oh, do you have access to Deadlock?
Yeah, I have access to Deadlock.
Bitch, send me an invite. What are you doing?
Oh my gosh, so mean. You're not gonna get one being so mean.
Please, bitch, give me an invite.
Okay, that's better. I'll get you one. So I'm between So right now I'm between Hades and Deadlock.
Stream it. It's free content.
Oh, I know. I love free content. So that's what I'm probably gonna be doing Deadlock. I know on the schedule we did Hades, but that's my stream, my rules. Yeah. Okay. So let me just see who we have. Anyone available to raid? If anyone has those recommendations, let me know. I have a perfect victim for streaming. Or for... You know what? Yeah. Ooh, you know what? It might be a better idea. Actually, I'm gonna... I need to check because people are, like, either being right back or, like, not. And I'm like, come on. Oh. Who's back first? Yeah! Perfect. Okay. We're gonna come over
that, by the
and
way.
raid Lumi stream. There we go. Alright. We're gonna raid Lumi. Be nice. No raid messages or anything. Just be kind. Make sure to leave a follow if you haven't. That always means a lot. I'll see you guys tomorrow for Deadlock. Make sure to leave before you go. And have a wonderful rest of your evening. Bye-bye. So I should probably go before, like, Big Alma finds me.
She's coming. I hear the footsteps.
Ah, shoot. Stuff me in, like, the cupboard and let me know when she's out so I can, like, get out of here.
Okay.
I can fit.
I don't have a drawer near me, otherwise I'd slam it.
Just shove me in.
Or
Just shove me into a cupboard. It's fine.
Shoves.
Cool. I think we're safe for now.
Fee fi folk. Oh, here comes the big alma.